All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome if you are new. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. And thank you, as always, for waiting for the intro to finish up there. Hope everybody's doing well today. Some people are probably going to be a little bit confused if you tuned into yesterday's stream because they're going to be like, MBG, I thought you said you were taking a break, man. And yes, I did say that. But the good news is I'm feeling a lot better today. So I think yesterday was just a really, really off day where I shouldn't have been streaming, but I decided to anyway. It's good. Yeah. I shouldn't have been streaming, but I did anyway. So thank you guys for dealing with that. But I am feeling much better today. And so, I figured we'll do a proper stream with some topics to go over and discuss. We do have a few different topics here to go over. So to give you a quick rundown of what we're going to talk about today, we are talking about Wolverine and how we have an insider claiming that apparently Insomniac Games is gearing up to show off Wolverine very soon. This insider also somewhat speculates that there might be some kind of potential PlayStation event, which we'll entertain that idea. We'll talk about this idea of a 30th anniversary PlayStation showcase. This is something that a lot of PlayStation fans, as we get closer to December, are kind of holding out hope that Sony will do. We are also going to be talking about basically just kind of going over the games from yesterday's Xbox partner preview event that are going to be coming to PlayStation 5. And we're also going to be talking about a situation with the God of War TV series, how it's getting completely rebooted because it just wasn't coming together, I guess. And then we also have ex-PlayStation boss Shawn Layden talking about the state of AAA gaming and chiming in once again. So this is what we're going to go over today. But I do want to let you guys know, and I'm probably going to mention this a couple of times throughout today's stream. Did I change the chair? I did. Yeah, I have to test something out, basically. I am using my old chair again because I am trying to change my posture. The big thing about the other chair I was using, for as comfortable as it is, and it is extremely comfortable, maybe too comfortable, it had bad mojo. That's what it was. No, I mean, we joked about that yesterday, but no, that it's because it doesn't allow me to have the best possible posture to whereas this chair that I'm using does. And because of the problem I've been having with my stomach, I'm trying to see if it will help or not. So it's basically just a bit of a test. If it turns out that I do feel better sitting in the older, less comfortable chair, but I feel better because of better posture, then I don't know. I'm going to have to figure out what to do with this awesome, amazingly comfortable chair. But we'll see where it goes. But I am going to mention this a couple times throughout the stream. I want to let everybody know that we did something a little bit different today. I don't know if you noticed or not. If you are a channel member or if you are not a channel member, hopefully this will encourage you to maybe consider becoming one. We did the first ever Morning with the Misses. That's what I decided to call it, where it's about 45 minutes long, and it's essentially a stream where it's me and Mrs. MBG. We're not on camera. I will let you know that. We're not on camera. There's actually like a video clip of Boss playing in the background. But a lot of you guys, more of you than I expected, actually tuned into that, which I was not expecting that because it was just out of nowhere. But I just wanted to test it out. Morning with the Misses, me and Mrs. MBG hanging out, talking with you guys. Basically a members lounge featuring me and Mrs. MBG and talking to you guys. And it was a really good time. A lot of you guys seemed to thoroughly enjoy it. A lot of laughs. I enjoyed it. Mrs. MBG enjoyed it quite a bit as well. It was actually her idea. So that's what we did prior to this stream. So the reason why I'm mentioning this is because I'm about to let you guys know a couple of ways you can support the channel. And I just want it to be known that that's essentially, as of right now, a new piece of content that if you are a channel member, you can go check it out. Or If you're not a channel member, consider becoming one to go check it out. Or if you get gifted a channel membership, you can go check that out. So go leave your feedback on that. Let me know what you think of it. But yeah, before we dive into these topics, guys, again, thank you for watching. Shout out to those of you who can't catch it live, but tune in later on. I want to take a moment to ask you guys to please hit that like button. We're currently at 57 likes. Let's see if we can boost that up to 75 and then 100. And I want to let you know 4 ways you can support the channel directly if you are able to do so. We are completely fan-funded here. I'm only able to do these streams, cover these topics, and have these discussions because you guys make it possible. Number 1, become a channel member. You gain access to exclusive perks. Number 2, consider gifting memberships. We're shooting for the goal of 25 members. If we hit 25 members, we will feed the beast back here, okay? Yesterday, you guys crushed a goal of 50 members, which was awesome. So let's see if we can continue that today. The third way, consider donating a super chat, ask a question, give an opinion, make a statement. And then the fourth way is there's a link posted at the top of the chat, direct donation. 100% of what you donate goes directly towards the content creator. So guys, once again, thank you so much for everything you do for me and the family here and the community. But Ghetto God says, we want more Mrs. MBG. Well, guys, go check out the Morning with the Misses. All right. If you're a channel member, go view it, go leave a comment, and, you know, we'll try to hit goals, man. If we hit goals, we'll be able to continue doing that. So it's important for you guys to understand that this content that I'm trying to produce, it is basically in the hands of the community here. All right. So if you want more of it, continue to support the channel. That's the best way to ensure that we'll get more of it. All right. Yeah, I noticed that too. You're saying, Yo, MBG, your hat seems a little bit dirty. I noticed with this camera, it seems to pick up like everything. And I know what you're talking about. It's like over here. I don't know what this is. Like I don't recall ever spilling anything on my hat. I don't know if it's a sweat stain. But yeah, I've noticed that too. So Boss licked it. He probably did. He licks everything. He's a weirdo. So I mean, I catch him like in the living room, like licking the curtains and shit. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? What? Everything okay over there? I mean, just look at him. He's a freak. So he probably did. That's probably what that is. But yeah, I'm gonna probably have to wash it soon. Forehead juice. That's a way to describe it, I guess. But guys, we are going to dive into the first topic today, which comes from Insider Gaming. They say we could be getting a new look at Marvel's Wolverine from Insomniac before the end of the year. According to a claim by known insider Kirikasis, Sony and Insomniac are gearing up to show fans more from Wolverine soon. This is exactly what he said on Twitter. He says, from my little digging, it looks like Sony is gearing up to show off some new stuff from Marvel's Wolverine. It's hard for me to determine when it will happen, but I'm guessing it will be this year, either at the Game Awards or at some unannounced super secret event. Now, Kirikasis is a reliable insider. They've been correct about multiple things in the past, and they've given us heads up about things in the past. But the article continues here saying there's been no confirmation from PlayStation or Insomniac that a new look at Wolverine is coming, so despite the source being accurate in the past, please take this information with a grain of salt until something is announced or Insider Gaming has confirmed its legitimacy. Insomniac and PlayStation have been quiet regarding Wolverine in an official capacity for some time. The last news players got about the game was via a massive leak that happened in late 2023 and early 2024. At the same time, early looks at gameplay mechanics made their way online. So we have at least one insider claiming that Sony's getting ready to show off Wolverine very soon. And there's a couple of things with this. They mentioned the idea of a super secret showcase. Obviously, that's a bit of a joke at this point. There's always been this idea of like the secret showcase is coming. And, you know, month after month, it just never comes, right? But some people are thinking this year is going to be a bit different, and the reason why it's going to be a bit different is because it's PlayStation's 30th anniversary, and Sony might host some kind of significant showcase to kind of celebrate that, right? Like maybe they've been saving this big showcase, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, I wouldn't necessarily place my bets on that. I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. Ahoy Tyler says Marvel is showing off a bunch of gaming stuff today at NYCC. So maybe today, yes. It's worth noting that this insider, when he was talking about this, people replied to him and they were saying that, hey, Marvel's going to be showing off stuff today. So is there a chance this is where it could show up? And I'm thinking, they replied by saying like, yeah, I didn't realize they were doing that. I didn't realize that there was something going on with Marvel today. So there is a chance that today at some point, I don't know when it's supposed to happen. I don't know if there's like a time frame for it, but there is a chance we could be walking away with something related to Wolverine. That'd be awesome. I would be quite surprised though. I feel like something like Wolverine, like a new trailer or especially something like gameplay, I feel like that's something Sony would want to definitely make sure they have for themselves. However, it is a Marvel property, so maybe Marvel's like, no, we want to show something off as well. Do I like your new profile picture? I actually can't tell what it is, unfortunately. Oh man, it's infected the chat here. I see. But I'll be honest, man, I would love to get a new look at Wolverine. It feels like it's been forever. We've gotten a decent look at Wolverine through the leaks, but I'm not talking about leaks. I'm talking about an official reveal of some kind. Waylark with a super chat says, surprised Sony didn't get a trailer out sooner. Get on that Deadpool and Wolverine hype train. That's exactly what I'm thinking, Waylark. I was kind of surprised by that as well. I thought to myself, like, man, the hype train for Deadpool and Wolverine is taking off, and that was, I think, the biggest movie of the year. Maybe the reason they didn't do that is they were kind of afraid to make people think that, yeah, this Wolverine game, it's Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and it has something to do with the movie itself. But then again, yeah, if you were to show off a new Wolverine trailer at around the time where, the marketing hype was in full swing for Deadpool and Wolverine, I feel like that would have really helped the game out. But you also have to wonder how much the actual Wolverine leak impacted their plans when it comes to kind of rolling out this game, showing off trailers. When the Wolverine game leaked late last year, it wasn't just a regular leak. It's not like a snippet of gameplay or something or a screenshot. Literally playable builds of the game leaked. So it's very much like a situation that I could imagine alters their plans at least slightly and how they want to roll it out. Maybe we were supposed to see Wolverine sooner, but because of the leaks, they decided to just kind of lay low. Because the truth is, and I hate to say this, and this sucks, but the truth is those leaks hurt the game in the sense that like people were just being overly critical and overly negative about everything regarding it, and that was really crappy to see because Wolverine is a game that I've been very excited about since it was revealed, and to see everybody being so overly negative about it, it was just like, wow, this sucks, like what now? And so I wonder if maybe they were just like, we're going to just lay low and not really show off anything. So that way people can kind of just forget about this leak and we can kind of move on. But I do agree with what you're saying here, Waylark. Showing off a new trailer around Deadpool and Wolverine would have generated a lot of hype. But I feel like enough time has went by now that, Ghost of Yotei was revealed at the last State of Play. We just got Astrobot. We know about Death Stranding 2. We know about Marathon. And Wolverine really is kind of like the last game outside of Marathon that we need to see more of, right? We just got CG trailers and people are waiting. And this is where, when we talk about the idea of a 30th anniversary PlayStation showcase, well, for those who don't know, PlayStation's 30th anniversary takes place on December 4th. And something that some people have noticed is that the Game Awards seem to be happening a little bit later than they normally do this year. The Game Awards are happening on December 12th, the second week of December. Normally, and the way it's been for quite some time, is the Game Awards take place the first week of December. This has led to speculation that the reason why the Game Awards are now being held slightly later is to make room for a potential PlayStation event of some kind to celebrate the 30th anniversary. Now, I do think this is a bit of a stretch, but I also understand that the 30th anniversary is such a significant deal that it makes sense some people are going to anticipate that this would happen. Could this be what Sony's planning? Could they be planning to do some kind of 30th event and show Wolverine off, show a new trailer, show more than that, right? Maybe finally hear from Naughty Dog, maybe hear from Blue Point, maybe hear from Bend Studio, maybe hear from Santa Monica Studio, and the list goes on. It feels like we're long overdue for that. However, a 30th anniversary event doing something like that, if you think about it, it would, in a way, it would get in the way of a potential, new hardware event for something like the PlayStation 6 in the future, where it's like, well, no, we need to save half of those games. We need to save half of those games for a PS6 reveal. But then again, it's hard to say, right? We don't know how much progress these studios have made with these games. We do not know how much Sony even plans to show at just the Video Game Awards. I mean, if I had to give my best guess here, most logical guess, I'm going to say that if we don't see something from Wolverine today from Marvel at, New York Comic Con, if we don't see something from them today, then what this insider, I mean, I don't know how they got this information, but I'm going to assume it's being saved for the Game Awards. Sony wants to have very likely a significant presence at the Game Awards. They always like to have a significant presence at the Game Awards. So I suspect that might be where we're going to see Wolverine. And obviously, when we think about the lineup for 2025, I mean, 2025 seems like I think there's still more to be revealed from Sony. I mean, we had Shinobi 602. Shinobi said that Sony does have more planned for 2025 beyond what we know. And if you think about what we know about Marathon, like I said, we know about Death Stranding 2, we know about Ghost of Yotei. These are 3 significant games that are going to be targeting 2025. What else could we see? I mean, Fair Games, maybe. I don't know that anybody would really be excited for that. Maybe some people, but sure, I could see that maybe targeting 2025. But could Wolverine? Could Venom? Yeah, Venom's another one. Yeah, maybe that's what we could see. Maybe Sony will show something relating to Wolverine today. Maybe we see Venom show up at the Game Awards. But it sounds to me like there is a lot of potential here. I don't know that the potential is necessarily going to equate to, yeah, we are getting that showcase, or yeah, we are going to be seeing Wolverine guaranteed. But at the very least, we have an insider letting us know that Insomniac is gearing up to show off Wolverine. And you have to wonder what exactly they're going to show, right? If Insomniac is going to show Wolverine, something tells me they have a bit of a chip on their shoulder, at least I would imagine, because I'm sure it was annoying for them to watch the rollout of this huge leak and just see their game that they're still working on, that they're nowhere near complete, to see their game come out and be ridiculed, knowing that it's nowhere near the final product. I imagine they would have a bit of a chip on their shoulder because of that and feel like, you know what, we want to show people, like, this is why you wait till we're ready, and you can't go based off of leaks. And we have Waylark with another super chat. Thank you for that, buddy. He says, also with Wolverine, do we want to see a trailer so far from launch? Isn't that falling into the criticism we give Microsoft, showing games that are so far out? Yes. I mean, I feel like Wolverine is a bit of an exception, Waylark, only because it was already revealed. If I had it my way, Wolverine would have never been announced when it was. And I'm pretty sure the reason why Wolverine was announced back in 2021 before the game was even, honestly, probably before the game was even in full production, it was likely Marvel. Marvel probably had some kind of mandate where it's like, look, part of the agreement here is you're going to announce this game and get people hyped. sometimes studios do like, and I try to be understanding of this, Waylark, that sometimes studios, they kind of feel like they have to announce these games early so they can get people to apply for the studio. You know, they're going to need more talent. They're going to need more devs. They're going to need to ramp up. And sometimes a very effective way to do that. And honestly, when you have a really exciting property like Wolverine, that's even more enticing. So it could have been a combination of Marvel wanting them to do it, but also Insomniac feeling like we want to get more people, you know, to potentially join the studio to work on this game. But I do agree overall that I don't want to see trailers for games or gameplay for games that are potentially years out. But because Wolverine was already announced in 2021, and it's already been 4 years basically since 3 years since we've seen that original CG trailer, I'm not going to lie, I would be okay with seeing something new just to kind of give us some kind of update and show us like, here's kind of what the game's going to look like, right? Here's a story trailer. Here's a little bit of gameplay. It would make me feel good and like, oh, okay. Sure, maybe it's still not going to be ready till 2026, but I think what we just saw recently with like Ghost of Yotei, that's the way to do it, right? That's the best way to do it. Here's the game. It's out next year, right? That to me is very exciting, but I do think Sony has to be careful with it. I have a feeling that with Wolverine in particular, Sony is not in full control. I think there are some, you know, some areas where Marvel does have control or Disney does have control and kind of has a say in how they're going to roll this out. That's my assumption anyway. Connor, thank you so much for the generous super chat, my friend. You're saying Wolverine game has Sweet Baby Inc. included in making the game. I am not buying. And I think that's perfectly fine, Connor. I understand your decision, and I understand and I respect your decision to not purchase the game for that reason. I can't say that I'm in that same boat, though, Connor. I am not happy about Sweet Baby Inc. working on Wolverine, and maybe I'm naive, maybe it's wishful thinking. My hope here, Connor, is that Insomniac, as well as Sony, as well as maybe Marvel, they've seen the pushback. They've seen how much gamers really are not happy with some of these consultancy companies. And again, for those who are not aware, Sweet Baby Inc., the problem with them, well, I think it's twofold. Number one, Sweet Baby Inc., they're a consultancy company. Like, their job is to consult, and to be clear, Insomniac willingly chooses to work with them. Their job is to consult Insomniac on things such as, well, in the case of Wolverine, I can't really say what it would be because I don't know what they're doing with the game. But, you know, when people throw around the terminology like making a game woke, essentially that's what people see. When Sweet Baby Inc. is involved, they're wokeifying the game. And for me, the thing that really gets me about the Sweet Baby Inc. company, and my problem with it, it's mainly the fact that from the research I've done, it has been proven that there are radical individuals that I don't know if they still work there, to be clear. I don't know if they still work there. Maybe they got laid off. Maybe they left. I do not know. But back when this was a thing that was coming out and people were discovering Sweet Baby Inc., when I looked into it, it was made clear there are radical individuals who do not like video games. They do not like the gaming industry, and they don't like gamers working at these companies, making decisions, having influence over these studios that they're working with, like Insomniac and others. And that's, to me, the big problem. The idea of a consultancy company, fine. The idea of a consultancy company that's focused on being more inclusive and diverse, concerning, because that is a slippery slope that I don't know is necessary. I don't know that that's needed to make a good video game with a good story and good characters. I really don't think that's needed. But if the company that's making the game really feels like, no, we need this, at the very least, please ensure that the people that are working for this company are not radicalized and, individuals who want to aggressively insert their politics into your game. And if you are okay with that happening, if you are okay with them saying, no, we are going to let them aggressively insert their politics into the game because we agree with their politics, then that's where you are losing the plot. You are losing the point. You are supposed to make an enjoyable video game that people can play and have fun with. And essentially a form of escapism. You're now doing the opposite, and you are taking real world things that people don't want to see shoved in their face and shoving it in their face. And so when it comes to Wolverine, again, I may be naive here and I may get burned, and I'm ready to get burned. I am prepared to be burned. I'm giving Insomniac the benefit of the doubt. And I know that, Connor, you may not want to, you're not going to buy the game. And I know other people will make that hardline stance where it's like, I'm not supporting this game because of it. And I get it. I'm supporting the game by giving them the benefit of the doubt and assuming that when I play Wolverine, there's not going to be some type of politically driven agenda that's just, making itself known right in front of my face every couple of hours, or I'm constantly being reminded, or there's just things being inserted into the game where it's like, this is... And people need to be very careful, though. See, this is where people need to be very careful, and people do need to, I think, educate themselves further because, all right, this is a slight leak, a slight spoiler, but I don't think it's major. Maybe you consider it major. I don't. So I'm just giving you that heads up now. If you looked at any of the Wolverine leaks, you probably know about this. All right. You know what? I'm not going to spoil it because I don't want people to leave. I'm not going to spoil anything. I'll just say this. If you know, you know. Some people read some things about Wolverine, not the character, but the game, about some of the characters that are going to be in the game. And one of the characters in the game is going to have a romantic relationship with a female, and people immediately were losing their mind. And they're like, sweet baby ink, DEI detected, sweet baby ink. And what's very bothersome about that is, again, without going into spoilers, if people knew anything about what they were talking about, they would know that character, it makes sense for that character. That's actually been a thing. That's not, you know what I mean? Like, they didn't change that. They didn't make it that way. That's a thing that exists in the lore and in the comics and whatnot. And that's where people need to be careful, where they're getting wires crossed and they're seeing things that, again, it's like, you do not want to confuse politically driven propaganda with, no, like, in this case, you're kind of being homophobic. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is a difference because one is genuine, one comes from from source material, the other comes from people projecting their own, I guess you could say, frustrations or fears or whatever onto something that doesn't deserve it because it's actually totally outside of it. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. And so ultimately what I'm trying to say here, Connor, is I'm going to give Insomniac the benefit of the doubt because I want to like this game. I want this to be a good Wolverine game that when I play it, I walk away being like, God damn, that was awesome. Tearing shit up, being a badass, What a great Wolverine story. What a great game. Awesome. Great gameplay. That's my hope. But if I walk away from that game and I'm like, they just couldn't help themselves. And I got like a list of things of like, this to me just seems very forced. and not at all what I was expecting from a Wolverine game. If that is what I get, then from that moment forward, I will no longer be able to have any type of confidence in Insomniac, because from that moment forward, I'm going to assume, and I will have no choice but to assume, that everything you're doing from this point forward it's going to be, this is what I can expect. And I know for some people, Spider-Man 2 was that for them. Spider-Man 2 was not that for me, not quite. Wolverine, I care about Wolverine a lot more than I care about Spider-Man, I got to be honest. So if they mess up Wolverine, if they pull some nonsense with Wolverine, then I'll be done with Insomniac, because I'm just not going to continue to be like, oh yeah, this is fine, when it's like blatantly obvious. They're like beating you over the head with stuff. It's like, yeah. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. And trust me, if there's one thing that I am certain of, Connor and everybody else listening, as soon as we see that first Wolverine trailer, people are going to have their magnifying glasses out. You know, the anti-woke crowd, and that's fine, because I'm mostly, I mean, I definitely lean more towards that side, just not the radical side of it. But, you know, the anti-woke crowd, the people who are always looking for stuff, they're going to have their microscopes out and their magnifying glasses out. And if there's anything there, we're going to know. We're going to know very quickly. And I'm going to have to assess it for myself and decide if people are being ridiculous and nonsensical, or if they're bringing up some valid points. Vinino, I will let you know, I did not look into every single aspect of the leaks. I just want to make that clear. I know that the entire story and script and cutscenes and everything else leaked. I did not look into all that. I didn't want to do that to myself. The most I saw, I only got a couple of tidbits about certain characters that are going to appear, certain gameplay sections, and certain features the game is going to have. That's all I ended up seeing. So, you know, if somebody else looked into that and they realize I'm about to step into a trap, please don't warn me. I'd rather find out for myself when the game, you know, when they're going to officially roll stuff out, because I've been down this road before, you know. Waylark with another super chat. So Connor, once again, thank you so much for the generous super chat. Waylark says here, Sweet Baby Ink involved with Wolverine. Watch the God of War series make Kratos bi, since same-sex giggity was the norm. Sorry. Since same-sex giggity was the norm in ancient Greece, will fit their DEI target. I mean, people have talked about that before. You know, the idea of like, is Kratos, you know, like he was Greek, you know, like this was a thing. And to me, it's like, well, we have the original game. You know what I mean? Like, the original game exists, and it makes it, I think, pretty clear where Kratos stands. You know, like, if at any point they felt the need to undo that and make it be like, no, he did more than that. It's like, you know what? Maybe can we just like not go down that road? You know, like, I don't need to know that. I want to make it clear, like, I didn't care. Like, I've seen people make the argument that some of those segments in the earlier God of War games, like, maybe a bit unnecessary. If not unnecessary, just not necessarily needed to progress the plot or, you know, achieve the end goal of what this game is trying to achieve. It's like, yeah, okay, it's whatever. But I'm just saying that already exists, and that's something that people kind of look back at and they're like, gaming sucks now, you know. But if they were to go back and undo some of that and try to change it and whatever, like, that's where it's like, no, just, you know, insert the meme of Kratos slowly standing up, staring at Odin, and just, no, just don't do it. Like, no, we're not doing that. And yeah, you know, these consultancy companies, man, I do worry about it because it's just their agenda is so clear. Like this is why I'm saying it's a bit different. Like when people were freaking out about Ghost of Yotei, this is a bit different where people freaking out about Ghost of Yotei, like they're assuming the agenda, but they have no proof of the agenda. And that's, I guess, to be expected, but I can't be on board with that because it's like, well, there's no proof. And it's like, no, there is proof. Look at Sony themselves. Look at what Sony does. Sony has a whole DEI sector. I'm like, oh, okay, hold on. Whoa, hold on. First off, like every company has that. Second off, hold on. Like this is Sucker Punch. Let me see what they do. And they're like, well, no, the actress. Like the actress is, totally wokeified. And they're like, okay, but is she the one making the decisions at Sucker Punch? No, she's an actress. My only concern is not her. It's certainly not her politics. My only concern is she going to do a good job? My concern is Sucker Punch. Do you understand the assignment? The assignment is not to push an agenda. The assignment is not to beat us over the head with messaging that nobody wants to hear and people are tired of hearing. The assignment is make a really great game with great gameplay and a solid story. And if you want to do that with a female protagonist, that's fine. Just make sure the female protagonist, just like if it was a male protagonist, is an interesting one, right? Not an annoying one. Because you could throw a man in there, and if you write that character poorly and they're annoying as shit, then it's like, no. Bad writing is bad writing. Bad storytelling is bad storytelling. And this is how you can always detect. This is how you can detect when these consultancy companies get their hands on certain stories and their tendrils, if you will, in certain spaces where they don't exist, because it's like, why is this writing so bad? Why is this character just terrible? Why is this whole section of this game just awful? Gee, I wonder why. Because you're getting bad actors, people who do not belong in this space, trying to convince others that they do belong in this space because they're actually better at you or better than you at what you do. And they know better than you know. And they somehow, I don't know, they've gotten to a point where there's enough of them around now where these bad actors, they find their way in and they insert themselves and they insert their radicalized, I guess, just view of life into these products. And then the market reacts by being like, what the fuck is that? Because the market is mostly normal people who just want to enjoy video games and enjoy good storytelling and characters. And that is where, that's why I'm concerned. Like if we find out like, oh, by the way, Sweet Baby Inc. is also working with Sucker Punch, then I'm going to be like, okay, now I'm starting to sweat. Now I'm sweating, if we find that out, because it's like, that's a double whammy. So you hired an activist actor. Okay, whatever. Oh, and you're also working with Sweet Baby Inc. It's like, at that point, they're not hiding the message. And I'm not even saying that they need to hide the message. It's just, please stop trying to deliver the message and just fucking make good products. That's all we want. That's all anybody wants, man. And again, I know that there are people on the other side, they get too uppity, they get too insane about it, where before you know it, they're actually just blatantly being racist and sexist and homophobic. It's like, guys, cool it, all right? Like if you start to behave that way, you're basically you're almost in a way validating the absurd behavior from the other side. Hello, friend. I'm using a PS Vita from 2016. I bought back in the day, played Uncharted and Resident Evil. Man, the PlayStation Vita. Sony, make a Vita too. I never really got to enjoy the Vita. I never really got to experience it, but the way people talk about it, And again, I want to make it clear. Hopefully I have made it clear, and I know you guys are smart, but just to be crystal clear about it, there is a difference between saying, I don't want Ghost of Yotei to fucking preach at me. Okay? Like, there's a difference between that and I don't want to play as a female protagonist. There is a difference. And that's all I'm trying to do, is just make people realize that we need to be aware of that difference. And until we see Ghost of Yotei begin preaching at us. Oh, Josh, yeah, I did get your direct donation, by the way, man. Thank you for the reminder. I'm going to go check that out. All right, but let me read this other super chat before I read your direct message, Josh. Zizledge says, unfortunately, Sweet Baby Inc. will replace Wolverine's claws with S toys, is what I'll say. I'm sorry. I had a visual, and that visual was Thank you. Read it out loud. He says, Sweet Baby Inc. will replace Wolverine's claws with SEX toys. Oh man, that I gotta say, dude, that's a crazy visual. And I'm like even imagining the gameplay. But you know what's so ironic about that, dude? Who here right now is thinking about GTA Vice City? You know, GTA Vice City, there was a specific weapon you would get, and you could use it. It's a melee weapon. You know, if you know, and you use it. Maybe they did that in Saints Row as well. I never really played Saints Row, but I'm just like, we went from like willingly wanting to do this because it's funny to like then it gets serious. Then it like now they're doing it. They're gonna do it earnestly, man. All right, let me go check the direct donations from Josh. By the way, guys, we have more people here. Josh, before I read this, I just want to say we're currently sitting at 0 memberships, guys. It's cool. It's cool. I appreciate any support, but I'm just saying we put out the first episode of Morning with the Misses, me and Mrs. MBG. I'm just putting that out there. Putting it out there. I'm just glad Boss is being good. Moonshot says, I'm a bit behind. What's going on with Wolverine, and where's this info coming from? Is a new trailer dropping soon? So there is an insider, not the most well-known, but they have been correct about stuff, especially regarding PlayStation. The last thing they actually leaked was the Lego Horizon game, and they go by the name Kirikasis. They said yesterday, from my little digging, it looks like Sony is gearing up to show off some new stuff for Marvel's Wolverine. It's hard for me to determine when it will happen, but I'm guessing it'll be this year, either at the Game Awards or at some unannounced super secret event. But this person is letting us know we are going to be seeing Wolverine very soon. Insomniac is gearing up to show it off. So Moonshot, hopefully that fills you in there, and that's why we were going on this other conversation because people are concerned about, as we said, Sweet Baby Inc. working on Wolverine, and I'm basically just explaining that I'm willing to give the game a chance. I'm not going to jump the gun. If Wolverine comes out and it's like a preachy ass game with just some weird decision making behind it, that's just like, okay, I'm going to be so deflated, man, because I don't want to see Sony continue to go in this unnecessary direction. I just want them to be balanced. And, again, I just want them to focus on the story, focus on the characters, focus on the games. You don't have to focus on being the most progressive company in the world. We don't need to go off a cliff here. And Gavin, thank you so much, man. Gavin answers the call. He's like, you know what, MBG? I'm going to drop you that single membership gift, bro. Gavin, you starting a member train? Is Gavin starting that member train? Omen86 says, I'm getting my PS5 Alan Wake 2 physical tomorrow. Physical for life, Omen. Physical for life. Love to hear it. Yeah, I'm actually really glad that Remedy decided to do a physical version of Alan Wake 2 because I was I was a bit perplexed when they decided not to in the first place, but I'll be honest, it seems like it maybe hurt their sales just a little bit. Not a lot, but ever so slightly. They could have had better sales because I saw so many people being like, I'll wait until they do a physical, and luckily they did. So, Omen, did you actually play Alan Wake 2 yet? Or Were you one of these people who actually decided to just wait until they announced the physical copy? Because I did play Alan Wake 2. It was a good game. I don't know that I enjoyed it as much as everybody else. I feel like there are parts of it I just simply don't remember. Even though I played it like not that long ago. I just remember it was such a wild game. And Big Nabs comes in. Big Nabs drops membership gift number 2. I knew Gavin was going to start something. A single train? Guys, are we going to hit the goal of 25 through single membership gifts? That's never been done before. That meme guy, you're saying, are you feeling better after that Vegeta hairline MBG because last stream was despair? Yes. Vegeta hairline. I am feeling better. I'm feeling much better today. I don't know. Maybe I just had to get the negativity out yesterday. Yesterday was a therapy day. So I appreciate you guys bearing with me. Still have some slight acid reflux though, but I'm doing everything I can about it. I'm doing everything I can. But we're not going to let it stop us. We're not going to let it stop us. I have another direct donation here from, let me see if it would load. From Moonshot once again. He says, I was in GameStop trading in my Switch and a district manager was in there telling me there's a huge PS5 for PS5 Pro trade-in promo coming up very soon. Ooh. I mean, I guess I'm not too surprised, right? Like, this is GameStop's area of expertise. I've seen so many people ever since the PS5 Pro was announced being like, I'll wait to see if GameStop's going to do some kind of trade-in promotional, right? Some kind of program. And I wonder if Sony's like working with them directly on that. I know sometimes that does happen. So maybe Sony is setting something up with GameStop, which is good because I think that's the way a lot of people want to do it, where it's like out with the old, in with the new, save as much money as you can, get as much store credit as you can, put it towards the Pro. So that's good stuff, man. Omen says, only weeks away from the PS5 Pro. I didn't play Alan Wake 2. Oh, well, that's great, man. Is that going to be the first game? I'm assuming that'll be the first game you play. But yeah, Alan Wake 2 is PS5 Pro enhanced, and they got the DLC coming out. I mean, I don't know, man. Alan Wake 2 to me is like a reminder. Sometimes it's just better to wait for games. It's just better to wait for games. Like, a part of me wishes I kind of didn't play Alan Wake 2 and I just waited, because I would be picking up the physical copy right now, PS5 Pro enhanced. But I don't know. There's some games I'm willing to wait for. A lot of the games that I'm truly excited for, though, I just can't. I can't wait. We have Silent Poet. He says, MBG Ghost of Yotei is inspired by Kill Bill, Lady Snowblood, and Princess Mononoke. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. I've heard of that, but I don't know if I'm saying the name correctly. No way this game won't be amazing. That's what I was hearing, is that it's going to have a very solid story because it's taking inspiration from these other works of art that, like, it's kind of portraying very clearly in the trailer that it's very inspired by it. And I that's where I'm saying, man, like, there's nothing about Ghost of Yotei that made me think, like, I will be honest with you, the only thing that is a splinter in my mind, and it's a small splinter about Ghost of Yotei. The only thing is the fact that they shouted out the actress and not the actress herself, but just she's very much a political activist. And look, I'm not saying that's why they shouted her out, because apparently she is a known voice actress. She's voiced other characters and people seem to be somewhat familiar with her. That's the only thing where it's like, please be careful. Please be careful. I'm tired of, I understand that a lot of these video game companies and a lot of these studios, especially the Western ones, I understand where their politics lie. I get it. But please just stop making it so obvious. That's all I'm asking. Just keep it in the background. We don't need to know about it. That's all. That's all. And so that's the only thing that when people were pointing that out, I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, that's not something to be excited about. But the game itself, like, just look at the trailer, look at the tone of the game, look at Ghost of Tsushima, the game that came before. I have faith in Sucker Punch. If they let me down, they let me down. There's nothing I can do about that. And I'm just being honest with myself there, where it's like, if they let me down, they let me down. But I'm not counting them out. I'm not assuming they're going to let me down, because I just genuinely feel like I don't have a reason to assume that. But yeah, man, the PS5 Pro is rapidly approaching. Very rapidly. Waylark, you're saying it would be naive to think she has no input in Ghost of Yotei. I don't think so, Waylark. I mean, because I'm trying to think about it, right? Think about it. Is she in the writer's room? No. When does she show up to work for Sucker Punch? She shows up to do mocap and voice recording and voice lines. So to me, this is not like a film. It's not like filmmaking, right? In filmmaking, it's not that uncommon. It doesn't happen all the time, but you know, there are times where you hear about actors kind of helping mold their characters, or you know, kind of improvising, and they're like, oh yeah, we'll go with that. This to me seems very different. Like, everything is laid out. She comes in, she does the voiceover, she does the mocap. I mean, I cannot even begin to imagine what the end product of some of these games would be if these actors were just like, but how about if I said this instead? Or how about if I did this instead? You know? There's a very specific vision. If that's the, you know, if that's how that worked, then I would be very concerned. Like, if Sucker Punch, if the developers come out and they say like, yeah, you know, the actors had a great influence over the direction we went in the story, I would be very worried. I'd be like, no way, dude. But I just don't think that. So I don't necessarily agree with you, Waylark. I don't necessarily agree that it would be naive to think that she doesn't have input. I think it actually is pretty likely that she simply doesn't. Because I mean, what are her credentials? You know, like if you're like, I'm just asking it from the perspective of, you're a writer at Sucker Punch. Imagine you're a writer at Sucker Punch. You finished a script, you finished a story, and you like hear one day like, oh, the actress, I forget her name, but like, she had this feedback. She was like wondering if you could change this. You know, I mean, chances are the writer's gonna be like, no. You know, like, no, this is, I did it this way intentionally. There's a reason for it. Like, dude, go watch the interviews with I know it's a different studio, but Naughty Dog, and when they were interviewing Troy Baker and stuff, like, dude, you could see behind Troy Baker's eyes. Like, you could read it in his face. And he kind of talked about it. He's like, I wasn't so sure about this for Joel. And he knew he couldn't do anything about it. But you could tell, like, you could tell, like, when he heard about what was happening, he's like, what? He's like, whoa. Hold on now. Silent Spartan comes in and drops another membership gift for you guys. Come on. I mean, that's 3 memberships, bro. You guys got a single train going. You want to keep that single train going? Let's do it. Let's get to the 25 mark, guys. I want to be able to feed the beast here. Silent Spartan, thank you so much for that, man. Let's see if we can keep it up. There we go. Yeah, and that's Troy Baker. That's Troy Baker. Like, you would think he's like one of the most well-known voice actors. You would think if anybody had a bit of say maybe on their character, it would be him, but I don't know. So we have another direct donation from Moonshot as well. And Omen86 says, Yotei, let the game do the talking. Jimmy. Yeah. I mean, look, man. Sony has not really helped themselves too much, I would say, lately. People, I think, listen, it's not even just Sony, the games industry as a whole. People have a valid reason for being worried about the future of not just Sony and PlayStation, but a lot of the stuff that we like and enjoy. Because it's like I said earlier, there are these radicalized individuals that have infiltrated the industry, and they're, they are entering places where they don't belong. And this is why we are seeing certain things utterly crash and burn. We are seeing things come out that you could tell, like, there's this level of confidence where it's like, we know what we're doing, right? Like, people are, we're doing it, we're committing to it, and we're going to make it work. And it's like, it's not working. It's doing the opposite of working. It's failing, and it's failing hard. And I'm telling you, man, we just need a better balance. And so I really hope that at the end of the day, these games do the talking, right? I hope that the games do the talking, and it's just simply that these are very good, enjoyable games. There isn't some added layer of bullshit that nobody asked for. That's my hope. That's my hope. A man can dream, right? Let me see. We have another direct donation from Moonshot. Thank you so much for that, buddy. Appreciate the direct donations. I got 2 from you. You're saying, I jumped into Spider-Man 2 the other day, and I forgot how fast you can move in the city, and the gameplay is actually so tight. Great sequel gameplay-wise. Writing wasn't as good as the first. There was like 2 sweet specials sprinkled in, but the internet will try to fool you into thinking it's utter trash. Yeah, see that? I went through this, Moonshot, Josh. I went through this, and Silent Spartan comes in. Bro, Silent Spartan, he's like, we got to get this thing, we got to get it rolling, man. The train, it's not moving. It's not moving enough. He drops 5 membership gifts for you guys. Silent Spartan, thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That brings us up to 8 members on the day. So, guys, Josh is he's setting it up for you, man. He's trying to get us. He's trying to get us there. He's trying to get us to the 25 goal. And Steven Leon. Steven is very quickly turning into the he's turning into the legend here. Steven Leon the legend. Steven Legend. How about that one? He comes in, he drops 10 more membership gifts for you guys. And just like that, we got Silent Spartan dropping 5. We got Steven Leon dropping a 10. And then Omen86 gets in on it. Omen says, hold up, guys. Hold up. I got to get some here, too. He drops another 5 memberships. And just like that, we are on our way, man. We're actually at 23 members now. So, guys, we're just 2 away. Omen set you up. Steven and Omen and Silent Spartan, they set you up, man. We're 2 away. 2 away, and we hit the goal. We feed the beast. Guys, really appreciate all the support, man. Amazing community we got here. Very generous. Boss, I got good news, bro. We're only 2 members away. 2 members away, and you get your treats. Wabu Dude and Shadow Link, they tag team it literally at the exact same moment. They both drop single membership gifts to get us to the 25 mark. And just like that, Boss, he doesn't even know. Look, Boss doesn't even know. Watch, I'm going to play the soundbite. Let's see how he reacts.
Boasty, read me. It's time to feed the beast.
Now he knows. So guys, thank you so much. That's 1 goal crushed. And before I feed the beast here, I want to remind you guys, anybody who just got gifted a membership, go check out the members content, because today we did something a little bit different. We did what I called Morning with the Misses, which is basically, I guess you could view it as like a members lounge, but it features me and Mrs. MBG. We're not on camera. I always got to let people know about that, because I know people want to see that. So listen, people have been asking, if I'm going to bring Mrs. MBG on camera. I think, and I'm not sure yet. Don't hold me to it. We'll see when we get there. But I have a maybe in between. We're going to do a bit of an in between, okay? Where I don't know that we're going to fully go on camera, but something, is she camera shy? No, she doesn't mind going on camera, but it's more me than anything. You know, like I don't know. I don't know that I'm like fully comfortable. Like I'm on camera, but the truth is, if you remember, even in the beginning, I didn't like being on camera. The only reason I ended up going on camera was because I basically made a promise, and the promise I made was like, when the PS5 comes out, I'll go on camera. And to be clear, when I did that, I did not, you know, I didn't think about, oh wait, this means anytime I stream, I'm probably gonna have to go on camera. So here we go, boss. But yeah, guys, either way, morning with the missus, we had a really good time. It was a really fun stream. It was about 45 minutes long. Anybody who just got a membership gift, please go check that out. I hope you enjoy it. Mrs. MBG had a good time. And Moonshot, to get back to what you were saying, bro, I went through this. I remember. You're saying that you didn't think the writing in Spider-Man 2 was as good as the first, but it wasn't that bad. You're saying, you know, the internet will try to fool you into thinking it was utter trash. And this is what disappointed me, is I was disappointed in seeing that, like, when I finished Spider-Man 2 and I platinumed it, I felt very similar. I was like, it's a good game, even a great game in a lot of regards. But I didn't enjoy it as much as the first one. And I do think most of it was because of the story, and it felt like things were a little bit disjointed. Maybe some things were a little bit rushed. But all in all, I still thought it was a really solid game overall. And, you know, there was certain side stuff that I just found pretty like, you know, this isn't really doing it. You know, this isn't really doing it for me. But yeah, dude, I was very surprised when I saw the way people were reacting to Spider-Man 2. Like you're saying, they were basically treating it like it was the biggest piece of trash ever made. I'm like, guys, I don't like. It's not that though. Like, it has some weak points and things that I'm not on board with necessarily. But all in all, like, I feel like when you play the game, you're like, there's a lot of quality here. There's a lot of good here too. And that is when I kind of started to realize that things are just not really totally fair these days. And it's not just exclusive to PlayStation. Like, that unfairness that I'm speaking of, it just seems like people these days, it's like it's either it's trash or it's the GOAT. It's got to be one or the other. And that to me is too hyperbolic, man. Like, we need to be able to assess these things and extract, like, here's what's good, here's what's great, here's what's mediocre, here's what's just bad, right? And not enough people seemingly are willing to do that with a lot of things these days. And that to me is just like, it's uninteresting is what it is. It feels like people are not willing to either be honest in their assessment or critical in their assessment. Like, if somebody's like, Spider-Man 2 is the greatest game ever made, it's like, well, to me that sounds like that's a bit hyperbolic. Like, it's definitely not. And that's because Spider-Man 1 exists. The Batman Arkham games exist, you know? Like, so there are definitely weak points of Spider-Man 2 that I think can be pointed out and can be, like, viewed as flawed. But I just don't like when people find one flaw or two flaws or even three or more than that are like, yeah, these things are not what I want, and they're dragging the game down and they're holding it back. And, like, sure, but then they just basically say, and so because of it, there's nothing good in this game, and it's now trash. I hate that shit. Like, that shit to me isn't fair, because it's like, well, there are some trash games out there, like, legitimately, where it's like pretty much nothing is good here. Hardly anything's good or salvageable. And to equate a game like Spider-Man 2 to something like that, you know? Saying the MJ Taser stuff put you off. And I think that's fair. Like, I saw people criticizing that were like, They were like, bro, the MJ sections, I feel like she's too OP. You know, like Spider-Man's out here, he's got to beat the shit out of like one enemy. He's got to like punch and kick them like 8 times to knock them out. And MJ's just like boom, 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 you know? And I get it. Like, to me, that's a valid criticism where it's like they clearly felt like they had to make MJ's sections more engaging and more exciting and more action oriented, but they seemingly did so at the expense of, you know, in a way, making her a bit OP, where it's like, you know, it does seem kind of silly where it's like, bro, why Spider-Man gotta like break his back out here, drop kicking like guys 3 times over just to knock him out? Like, it's like, at what point do we just hand Spider-Man a taser gun, you know? Think about that. I mean, you want to talk about being able to more effectively take down your enemies. There you go. Let's see here. We have Waylark. He says, what if they hired that type of actor because the character is that? That would make sense. They would be good for representing that community. I mean, that's the thing, Waylark. I'm not here to say that there's that, like, that's impossible. I'm not here to say that. But all I am here to say is that would be highly flawed. You know what I'm saying? It would be highly flawed, because if what you're describing is, rather than hiring an actress because of her acting ability and her, you know, whether she, like, because she fits the role best, right? She's the best person for the role. We're hiring her because of her political beliefs, and that's what we're trying to get across. And I get what you're saying, where it's like, well, what if they wrote the character? What if the character they wrote was inspired by her? It's, again, that's even more flawed, because it's like, bro, you guys are writing a character in the year like 1600 or 1603. Like, not really sure it would be a wise idea to base that character off of, you know, a political activist individual in the year 2024. Like, that's the type of shit that turns into disaster. So I get it. There's like a fear there, and we have seen, and Waylark, here's what I'll say. I'll give you this. What you are ultimately describing is people who can't, like, they want to put themselves, it's about them in the story, in the art, in the product, right? And it's about serving themselves and serving their own beliefs rather than serving the audience. And I cannot deny that we have seen multiple examples of that across, you know, across the spectrum. And it's never good, because it creates a cringe product that people detect that shit. And they're like, what is this? You know? And so, again, this is where I look to Ghost of Tsushima, the first game. I look to Infamous, Second Son, because I played that as well. And I say to myself, that doesn't sound like Sucker Punch. You're saying that's all art? I mean, I know that exists to a degree. I want to make it clear, David. I do agree that there is always some degree of the artist insert, you know, even like, you know, they're the ones coming up with it, right? The writers, the directors, whatever. There's going to be some level of the self in the final product, but it's all a matter of, like, there's a difference between, like, I'm now going to, like, I have a good beginning and a good middle, but, you know, I think I'm going to add this section right between there. That definitely, like, the story doesn't need it. The characters, it does. It's not going to serve the characters either, but I want to put it in there because I have something I want to say. And that's where it's like, okay, do so at your own risk. You know what I mean? But I get where the fear comes from, Waylark. JMR77 says, honestly, MBG, the only thing I want from PlayStation is good games, not left-wing agendas, not right-wing agendas. I just want good games. Cheers. Cheers to that one. Hold on. One sec, guys. But JMR, I'm in complete agreement. We just need that stuff on both sides to just take a seat. And we need developers that are here to do a good job, a good job in storytelling, a good job in just, again, I talk about universal stories, and what I really mean when I say that are take home messages that it doesn't matter what side you're on, doesn't matter what your political alignment is. That doesn't matter. It's just it's a take home message that is it's a very human one that anybody can get behind and be like, okay, yeah, like even if you're not fully in agreement, you can understand it. That's where the skill comes in, skilled storytelling. And you talk about good games. Yeah, we just need good games, man. These are video games. At the end of the day, we need good games. We have let me see. Omen86 says several PS5 vertical stands worth of memberships. I love it. I love that that's I love that that's how you're measuring it, Omen. Several PS5 vertical stands worth of memberships. Omen, it's time for you to drop that 50 bomb, bro. Because I gotta buy a bunch of vertical stands. I gotta have a wall of PS5 vertical stands. I don't know why. Luna's being weird. Sean Mitchell, thank you so much for the super chat, buddy. You're saying, what's up, MBG? Haven't been able to tune in for the last week. Good to be back with the community. Hopefully going to finish Silent Hill 2 this weekend. Don't know what I'll play next. What's your next game? My next game, I think, is going to be Until Dawn. The only reason I haven't purchased Until Dawn yet, and I'm still holding off, is because it seems like Ballistic Moon is currently in the process of patching the game still. I did see that they released a patch, but it seems to be mostly geared for PC with a couple of things for PS5, but PS5 players are still saying that there's more stuff they got to work on. So because Until Dawn is also PS5 Pro enhanced, at least that's what it said on the list. It was on the list of games. I think I'm just going to kind of chill for now. I am planning on playing Call of Duty. So I'm going to play that. I'm going to play that with Mrs. MBG. We're going to do zombies. I'll try the multiplayer, see if I can get used to that Omni movement. But I think I'm going to be doing Call of Duty Until Dawn, and I'm also I don't know. I'm thinking about Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, but I'm really not sure. I saw that they put out a blog post basically detailing all of the upgrades, but I think the last time I played Horizon Zero Dawn was like 2018 or something. So it's been quite some time, and I honestly forgot a lot of the game. I remember the important parts and the story beats, but I don't know. It's funny because I've been seeing some of these comparisons for Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, and I'm like, yeah, the original game still holds up, but you can see that there's a pretty substantial difference. You know what I mean? When you look at basically you see that they gave Zero Dawn the Horizon Forbidden West treatment, and I'm like, okay, maybe I am going to try this, but I'm not sure yet. I do know I want to play Until Dawn. And to be honest, I'm not looking too far beyond that. I'm not looking too far beyond that right now. Actually, yeah. That one I keep forgetting about. The Casting of Frank Stone. That's a game that I wanted to play. But I'll be honest, man. That's a game that I want to wait I kind of just want to hold off because, as Omen mentioned earlier, like he's getting his physical copy of Alan Wake 2. One of the biggest things that turned me off about the casting of Frank Stone is the fact that there's no physical version and you can only buy it digitally. And it's a single player game. I mean, I think you could play it multiplayer co-op, but it's a story based game, And I'm like, man, I have a physical copy of Dead by Daylight. So it's it's based in the universe of Dead by Daylight, and it's published by the I forget what are they called, Behavior. Thank you. This is MBG coming in clutch. Yeah, Behavior Interactive. I think they're the ones publishing it, or at the very least, they're involved with the development of it. And they're the ones responsible for Dead by Daylight, and they have a physical version of Dead by Daylight. I mean, come on, guys. You got it. You're going to do a physical version of a live service game, but not a single player game? It doesn't really make sense to me. So that's a game that's not the point. I mean, I think so. I think it's like a special edition, like Japanese version of Dead by Daylight that's physical. But, I just feel like if they're, I guess what I'm trying to say is like they definitely did not have to do a physical version of this game at all because it's a live service game. But the fact that they did want it all, and the fact that there's nothing right now in the pipeline for their single player game is just strange to me. So this is one of those instances where I'm going to wait to see if they end up deciding to do a physical version, even if they want to sell it at more of a premium, and then I'll pick it up because that's a game I'm interested in. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not really too sure about what's coming out in November or December. I'd have to look over a list. There's nothing that's immediately popping into my mind. I mean, I know there's like the Lego Horizon game, which I don't know that I have any excitement for that, but I think Mrs. MBG expressed an interest in potentially playing that. But I have to look. I have to see what else is coming out. MBG the Marvel, but Sean, by the way, thank you for the super chat. Ahoy Tyler says MBG the Marvel presentation is at 4:45 p.m. Eastern today, and last year they showed off stuff for Spider-Man 2, so there's precedence. Oh, okay. All right. Damn. I wish it was just a little bit sooner. That's stressing me out now. Because like I feel like I'm gonna end my stream like in the next couple of hours, and like 2 hours later it's gonna be like new Wolverine trailer. Oh, that'd be awesome though, man. I have to say, if we actually got something regarding Wolverine today, I'd be pretty stoked for that. Not gonna lie. I would be pretty stoked for it. So, how many of you guys tuned into the Xbox partner preview event? Microsoft hosted this yesterday. It was about 30 minutes long. Saying do a reaction stream after for members. Well, first we have to see. So, pretty much almost every game that was shown off during this Xbox partner preview will be coming to PS5, which is not surprising, but I wanted to just kind of read you down the list really quick of the games that were shown off that are going to be coming to PS5. Alan Wake 2, The Lake House, October 22nd. Chronos, The New Dawn. That's the new Bloober Team game. That's been confirmed for PS5. Blind Fire, confirmed for PS5. Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. February 21st, 2025, confirmed for PS5 and PS4. Mouse PI for Hire, confirmed for PS5 and PS4. Animal Well, confirmed for PS5 May 9th. Wait, that's wrong. It says May 9th, 2024, but obviously they mean 25. Eden's Zero, PS5, 2025. Eternal Strands, PS5 early 2025. Wheel World, I hate that name. PS5 early 2025. I hate the name Wheel World because it sounds like, I don't know what it is when people like they pronounce their R's as W's. So it sounds like I'm trying to say real world, but like wheel world. Am I the only one who thinks that when I read that? I don't know. Phasmophobia, PS5 and PSVR 2 coming out October 29th. Wu Chang Fallen Feathers 2025 confirmed for PS5 and FBC Firebreak 2025 PS5. And it says here Subnautica 2 launches in early access in 2025, which is expected to take about 2 to 3 years. It will likely end up being announced for PS5 closer to release. So that's pretty much every game that was shown. In fact, I don't even know that any game that was shown is actually exclusive to Xbox in any way, shape, or form. But I know that there are quite a few different day one Game Pass drops. So there is that. Saying Animal Well is already out on PlayStation? Well, then what the hell game are they talking about? Is it a different game? Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, is it because it's coming to Game Pass? And it actually did come out May 9th. Okay, maybe I'm wrong about that one. Yeah, I didn't realize that. My bad. Nothing for Stalker 2 yet. Nothing about Stalker 2 yet. PlayStation loses legal fight to prevent third-party add-ons being sold for its games. I think we talked about this the other day. Sony has lost its fight to prevent third-party add-ons being sold for PlayStation games. The European Court Justice has dismissed Sony's claim that the action replay cheat software sold by UK company Daddle, I don't know how you would say that, infringed its copyright. PlayStation asserted that as Daddle's Boost uses its source code, the company was infringing its copyright under EU law. The case was taken to court back in 2012. Wow. According to Euronews, judges said that Daddle's cheats do not change or reproduce either the object code, the source code, or the internal structure and organization of Sony software, but merely changes the content of the variables temporarily transferred by Sony's games to the console's RAM, which are used during the running of the game. The directive protects only the intellectual creation as is reflected in the text of the computer program's source code and object code. This is what the court said. The court finds that the content of the variable data transferred by a computer program to the RAM of the computer and used by that program in its running does not fall within the protection specifically conferred by that directive, insofar that content does not enable such a program to be reproduced or subsequently created. In a non-binding opinion prepared for the case earlier this year, Advocate General, I don't know how to say their name, insisted, it was not illegal to use any copyrighted work in a way that may differ from the creator's intentions. The author of the detective novel cannot prevent the reader from skipping to the end of the novel to find out who the killer is, even if that would spoil the pleasure of reading and ruin the author's efforts to maintain suspense. Yesterday, we reported that now they're talking about what Shawn Layden had to say, which I was going to talk about later. I did talk about it in a video earlier. I don't know. I kind of don't know what this means. It's like the second time I'm coming across this. So, like, I was under the impression that this has to do with mods, but is it for something else? I'm not sure. Is this for mods? Like sellable mods for their games? It kind of sounds like that, but I don't know. The example that was given. Any news on the PSVR 2 and games? I mean, nothing specifically. No, I didn't. Guys, give me 1 second. All right, sorry about that. Let me see if there's any updates here. All right, so I have another conversation I want to have with you guys. We are going to move on to the the next topic here, which is what Shawn Layden had to say. Shawn Layden, the former boss for PlayStation Studios. Let me bring it up here. So, says former PlayStation boss says games need to go back to 3-year development cycles. At Gamescom Asia 2024, we got a chance to talk to Shawn Layden, current strategic advisor for Tencent Games and the former chairman of PlayStation Worldwide Studios. Our chat with Layden followed his fireside chat at the event's main stage. During his stage discussion, Layden discussed his thoughts on why the lack of AA games is a threat to the gaming ecosystem. Thus, our discussion with Layden was an extension of his chat. He specifically noted that the ever-increasing game development times are a key problem. Before getting into this, though, he first mentioned that this is an issue given the focus on monetization today, instead of simply what makes games fun. Now, I no longer speak for the Empire, said Layden, obviously meaning he no longer speaks on behalf of Sony. But in my view, I think what has been forgotten is a question that my boss used to ask me or people who were bringing games to him, which was, okay, great, where's the fun part? You know, don't speak to me of your monetization cycle or what the subscription revenue looks like or how the microtransaction drops you're going to have or how many MTX drops, you're going to have a year and the DLC aggregation over time. Where's the fun part? Sell me on the fun. I will just stipulate that you've got the business model worked out. I think that's what we're missing. Of course, that's not to say that forgetting to focus on what's fun about games is the only problem. Shawn Layden also mentioned that this aspect has fallen by the wayside given the pressure exerted by investors and stakeholders. In response to this, Shawn Layden said that the way to address this is by lowering budgets and teams, meaning shorter development cycles. This is something he mentioned during his fireside chat, though he went into detail about his thoughts on the matter during our discussion. You have to refactor the mindset. One way to do that, I think, is if you keep your game budget under $50 million, you can get better traction that way. So how are you going to get there? How are you going to dial back that number? As I've said before, the cost of building a game is just people versus time. People versus time, labor versus time, and salaries versus time. And if you're going to take 6 to 7 years to build a game with 800 people on it, that math goes to infinity pretty fast. So maybe how we can do this in a 3-year cycle, and how can we do this with less than 100 people and still give a high quality, engaging experience? You look at something like sports games. I used to run the studio that made Major League Baseball the show, and it shipped on opening day, April 1st, every year because MLB wasn't going to shift the opening day of 3 more weeks, even if in QA I'm not ready. What that does is it instills a discipline where you have a task sheet and you prosecute it ruthlessly. That if by this date this feature isn't done, it's gone. You are forced into that. We have to add value to the new proposition and new features, but every season I can't get all the new features in because I'm capped on April 1st. You can build a discipline that the team makes a new game in 9 months every year. To further emphasize his point on discipline being important, Layden mentioned movies. Of course, ballooning budgets and production times have also plagued Hollywood blockbusters. In fact, there's a similar discourse on how there's a lack of mid-budget movies nowadays. There's been some success stories, though, like the Japanese hit Godzilla Minus One, which took home an Oscar for visual effects while having a fairly small budget. Shawn Layden explained that's a certain discipline that exists in a different field. Take, for example, Godzilla Minus One, which I think is the best Godzilla movie ever, and it cost them $16 million. You can't do a trailer for Avatar for $16 million. You look at that and go, how do you do that? You do it with discipline. If you watch the movie, you can tell all the big special effects pieces are in a very tight camera shot. So we're just rendering Godzilla's head. We're not also rendering the rest of his body, right? You don't do the whole city in one shot. You do stuff at night. You can do a lot of tricks in the trade to manage your costs, and similar tricks are available in gaming. The Silent Hill fog, well, you can do that. That was more of a tech problem as the draw distances won't go there. We understand that, but you can manage your feature set. You can have rules against people coming in saying, now trash that level, let's rebuild it. No, we're not doing it anymore. Go watch the TV show Mythic Quest on Apple. That'll show you the absurd extent that gaming can go to, where someone who watched that said, oh, come on, Shawn, there's never been a case where a producer came in at 1 a.m. and said, change the entire weapon set. I said, no, that's practically a documentary, dude. That stuff happens. And so you've got to mitigate against that. It's really about discipline, knowing what the target is, getting everybody on board to understand that, but delivering in this space at that price point is how we're going to get there. And if you can get back to 2 to 3 year development cycles, then you can deliver 3 games in the span it takes to do 1 game. Now the math is better. Looking at the releases from big publishers like PlayStation and Xbox during this and the previous generation, it's clear that development cycles have lengthened quite a lot as gaps between releases have become much longer. On the flip side, while there are seemingly fewer AA games now, there are some success stories. For instance, like a Dragon continues to sell quite well while having a nearly yearly release schedule. Given his thoughts on the matter, it'll be interesting to see if this trend will continue. So I wanted to go over this with you guys because we have Shawn Layden once again talking about the state of the industry currently and what he believes needs to be done. And I think that he is making it very clear. Like, he's making his stance very clear. He's not being wishy-washy about it. And on top of that, it's particularly interesting to think that if Shawn Layden was the head of PlayStation right now, this is what he would be doing with PlayStation. Omen86 with a milestone chat says, I'm hoping they will add a tab on PS5 which allows all the PS5 Pro enhanced games. It would be nice to have a complete and auto-updated overview. I agree with that, Omen. I think Sony should do that. My assumption is that once the PS5 Pro rolls out, at least on the PlayStation Store, right, there will be some kind of PS5 Pro tab, and it'll just like it is for PSVR 2, but all games that are going to be PS5 Pro enhanced. Because it seems like every day more and more games are being added to this list, and it's kind of hard to keep up with. But I'm curious what you guys think about what Shawn Layden is saying. Ahoy Tyler says, this is extremely misguided. He doesn't realize that people don't want the smaller games. Look at even something like Astrobot. Many people are talking shit because it's a small title. I think it's a very complicated situation because I do think on one hand, we are looking at the market as is. And when we look at the market as is, what it generally tells you is that, yes, we want the big, exciting titles, but these titles do take a long time to make. I think my biggest problem with what Shawn Layden said here is I would have liked him to use a different example. He chose to use the example of MLB The Show and talking about the level of discipline for that team, and this applies to like all yearly sports games, to have another AAA sports game ready to go, and the level of discipline that takes. But I feel like that's a really terrible example because I don't think that can be applied to, to most other games. Like, you think about Uncharted, you think about The Last of Us, you think about Ghost of Tsushima, you think about all these other titles, and it's like, obviously these games can't be released year over year over year, but I mean, could we get a new Ghost game every 2 to 3 years? I mean, you look at like Assassin's Creed, and I think Assassin's Creed is probably the closest thing we've seen. Maybe Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty, right? These are like the two de facto AAA yearly titles. And I don't know. If you look at the way people respond to these two franchises, like it's become clear that people, it's a complicated thing because people do buy them and people do still like them, but like there's also something missing. And there's this kind of feeling of like it's basically lost its luster to a degree. And I'm just saying, like, if you were to take that approach with every franchise and every series, I don't know that would be the answer. What's missing? If I had to guess, I think it's exactly that. It's that you don't have a chance to miss it. You know, you get it so frequently that it's like, okay, yeah, it's routine now. And I feel like in a way that's kind of what is needed. If not needed, it's what people kind of gravitate towards. When we talk about like a new game being announced, right? A new game being announced from a publisher, and it's from a series that's been gone for like 6 or 7 years. Like that just inherently feels, people have a different feeling towards that game than they do like the next Assassin's Creed. You know what I mean? It's just different. What that does for sales, I'm not so sure. What that means for, you know, I guess maybe it's the assumption that the game that took longer to make, you know, it's going to have more new things, more innovation. Illegal Monkey, thank you for the $10 super chat. You're saying, how would you feel if they took a 40-plus hour game and broke it into 2 games, thus having part of it done in 2 to 3 years rather than the whole thing after 6 or more years? I guess what you're describing, I actually would be totally on board with. However, the pricing of it is, I think, the question. There was that kind of, you know, speaking of the Insomniac leak, there was that kind of leak that seemed to hint at the idea that they were considering doing this with Spider-Man 3, but selling it for $60. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know how people would respond to that, where if it's like Spider-Man 3 Part 1, $60, 2027. Spider-Man 3 Part 2, $60, 2029. I mean, I don't know. It's like at that point, you're saying a 40-plus hour game. That almost sounds like it would be fair if we're talking about Spider-Man 3, because Spider-Man 2 could be platinumed in like 24 hours or 25 hours. So I would say, like, without, I mean, if it's completed in 40 hours, it's completed in 40 hours. But I would say try to add a little bit more to it if you can, within reason. And breaking that up and charging $60 for each, I mean, you're talking about spending $120 over the course of like 3 years, right? On versus if you, I don't know, I guess that's like, it's all a matter of like, I guess, value. Like what's more important to you, you know, having the entire package, but at a lower price point, but you have to wait. You do have to spend something. You have to spend your time waiting. I don't know. It would be very interesting to see that. I think that could be a potential answer to this. And at that point, I mean, if you think about it, like what Shawn Layden is describing, I feel like that's kind of like what he's saying. If you look at like Uncharted 1, 2, and 3, those games came out pretty close to one another, if I'm not mistaken. And they were also shorter, you know, like they were a little bit cheaper than $70 games today, but they were shorter. Like they could be completed in what, like, I don't know. I don't want to guess because let me see. Uncharted 1 completion time. When focusing on the main objectives, 8 hours. If you want to do everything, about 17 hours. But 8 hours for the main story. Let me check Uncharted 2. That's actually shorter than I expected. Uncharted 2, about 10 and a half hours for the main story. And Uncharted 3, 9 hours. Spider-Man 2... Well, hold on. Before I go to Spider-Man 2, Uncharted 4 completion time. For the main story, 15 hours. Spider-Man 2 completion time, 17 hours for the main story. See, Miles Morales completion time is about 7.5 hours. So that's crazy. Like, Miles Morales is about 8 hours to complete the main story. That's how long it took to complete Uncharted 1. And Miles Morales, if I'm not mistaken, is actually cheaper than Uncharted 1 was. I think Uncharted 1 was $60. Miles Morales was $50. So, I mean, it's a tough thing because, you know, it's murky water. It's a slippery slope when we're basing the value of games on how long it takes to complete them, but that's just the way it's going to be. That's just the way it's going to be. I don't want it to be that way all the time, but it's necessary because you don't want to get ripped off. You don't want to pay $60 for a 4-hour game. You know, nobody wants to do that, no matter how good the game is. So there is this general expectation. I will say this. I was listening to a Sacred Symbols episode not that long ago. I think it was when Colin Moriarty was reporting on the Concord situation and the whole idea that Concord cost $400 million. Colin said pretty confidently, like pretty authoritatively, that he knows of games that are in development at PlayStation Studios right now that are more expensive than $400 million. They are beyond $400 million. I would love to know what games he's talking about, but that's fucking nuts. And I don't know, from my perspective, I won't lie, I am starting to kind of get this feeling. That I would prefer these bigger games if it's really, if like we're getting to a point where it's like it's going to take 6 or 7 years now in between games. I almost feel like I would prefer them to be broken up into 2 parts. Because the idea of, like, you're talking about waiting over half a decade for a game, potentially. You know? Like, let's look at, like, Naughty Dog, for example. When's the last time we saw a new game from them? The last time we saw a new game from Naughty Dog was The Last of Us Part 2, and there's nothing else on the horizon. You know, Ghost of Tsushima came out after The Last of Us Part 2, granted only 1 month after, but still after, and we still... You know, we still got the sequel announced before the next Naughty Dog game. And it makes me wonder, like, Naughty Dog, should you just kind of... I guess it depends on what they're focusing their development time on. I don't know. Omen86, you're saying, I'd even get excited for a new 30-hour-ish Jack and Daxter with PS3-like graphics. Rift Apart was a nice bite-sized game, too. More of that, please. Yeah, I mean, I think about that too, right? I think about these games that are not that long, but I got thorough enjoyment out of. And I don't really feel annoyed by their length and how much I paid for them. Like, I paid $70 for Ratchet and Clank, and granted, I did platinum it, so it, you know, took me, I think, over 20 hours. But the game itself, just to beat it, was short. And in playing Silent Hill 2 Remake, it's another example, like, it's very obvious. It's very obvious that certain things in Silent Hill 2 Remake were stretched out or added. Certain things were added in the name of we want the playthrough to be longer. And it seems like Bloober Team maybe went a little crazy with it because, dude, it can take close to like 18 hours or longer to beat Silent Hill 2 remake, and that's like to some like, and I don't know that that's serving the game. Like I did see some of the criticism for Silent Hill 2 remake in the reviews was that the pacing was a little bit off, and I thought, oh, maybe people are exaggerating that. But as I'm playing it and I'm completing it, I'm like, yeah, it was a little long in the tooth, not overly, like it wasn't like a big deal, like, oh my god, it ruined the game and it's not fun now. No, but it's like there are definitely parts where you're like, I thought this would have been over by now. You know what I mean? Like it feels like this game I should have beaten this game by now. And there are just certain parts of the game that feel like it's very slow paced. And again, it's not that big of a deal, but you start to get this kind of sense of, were they trying to maybe, if not pad the game out, because it doesn't feel like padding, but stretch the game out a bit. Because they're like, what if people get upset that it's only 12 hours? No, we got to make it 16 hours to beat. And it doesn't sound like a big deal, but when you're talking about a linear single player game where you're trying to get to the next story beat and figure out what happens next, I remember Uncharted 4 got a little bit of criticism for this, where they were like, bro, is Uncharted 4 too long? And I played Uncharted 4 and I'm like, that shit was long. I'm not saying it was bad, but it's like you can begin to feel it. Like, yeah, it's like when you're playing a game and it's like, and it's still going, and it's still going. Did you see that Jez Corden is saying Xbox is winding down this generation already? That it's basically over? Where did he see that? Or where did he say that? Doolin Jones, thank you so much for the generous super chat, my friend. You're saying, hi, MBG, just completed playing Death Stranding Director's Cut on both PlayStation 5 and PlayStation Portal. What an astonishing game. It's not easy, but I've enjoyed the story. Can't wait for the new one coming up. Now on to Until Dawn next, before the PS5 Pro comes out. I'll be playing the new Horizon Remaster. While Dylan, I'm sorry, I called you Doolin again. Delwyn, my bad. I don't know why why do I want to call you Doolin? Doolin. Delwyn. Bro, it sounds like you're eating good. It does. Sounds like you're eating good. I thought PlayStation had no games though, Delwyn. I thought there were no good games. Death Stranding's amazing. I don't know if that's your first time playing Death Stranding, but Death Stranding's an awesome game. Until Dawn, I'm going to be playing that soon as well. I think I'm holding off till I get the Pro to play Until Dawn, but I'm going to be playing that next. And I was talking a little bit earlier about the Horizon Remaster. I'm not sure if I want to go back and play that yet or not. But you're eating good, man. And you're using your Portal. Love to see it. Love to see it. I agree. Death Stranding's graphics are underrated, man. That's like one of the best looking games. Thank you again for the super chat, Delwyn. We also have Wabu Dude with the $10 super chat saying, I took Sean's statement as we need more smaller games like Ratchet and Astro, allowing bigger games to have the space to shine. Creating smaller teams to tackle this sounds reasonable to me. I agree, Wabu Dude. I mean, it's hard to say exactly what Shawn Layden's PlayStation would look like if he was in charge right now, but I think it is safe to say that something we would see is a much greater emphasis on building these teams that are making these smaller, and it's crazy because what we call a smaller game now was considered AAA in like 2006 and 2007. And it makes sense. I don't know that it would necessarily make the most sense to call. Well, I don't know, because it's like people kind of wonder, like, why do we need this, right? And I think the answer is yes. To be clear, and this is where I think I do agree with what Wabu Dude's saying here. We do still need the bigger games. And the reason why we need them is because not only do we, the gamers, want them, we want the big cutting edge blockbuster titles, but also there are plenty of development teams that want to strive to make these types of games. They want to push to make bigger and better games, and they don't want to feel like they're constantly being held back and having to scope down They want to be able to go a bit crazy. Now, that obviously they have to do that within reason, but we do need that. But I think that what you're describing here is, again, it's basically like we need a better balance where there have to be more teams. I don't know. Like, I think about what somebody said in the chat a little bit ago where they were like, look at the way people are talking about Astrobot. Like, it's a smaller game. It's a smaller game. And because of that, like, people are acting like it's not what they want. It's inconsequential. But I think it's about the type of game. I think Astrobot, frankly, is not that small of a game. Like, it took me, how many hours did it take me to platinum it? I think it took me more than 15 hours to platinum it. Or like 18 hours or something like that. And that's not a short amount of time. Like, for just platinum. I think that's about the same time it took me to platinum to platinum Ratchet and Clank. But I just think the reality is people, when they look at something like Spider-Man Miles Morales versus Astrobot versus Ratchet and Clank, you put Ratchet and Clank and Astrobot up against Miles Morales, I think people just have a different view where they're like, but I don't know, it's Miles Morales. It's not only is it Spider-Man, but it's, it's an open world. And sure, maybe the same open world you were in for Spider-Man 1, but it's an open world, right? And it's like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to describe here. I'm having trouble describing it, but there's just this kind of, I'll put it to you this way. Imagine instead of Astrobot in September, we got, let me think here. Imagine instead of Astrobot, we got a standalone Last of Us game. Okay. Where it's about 8 hours to complete, maybe like 15, maybe 12 to 15 if you're trying to 100% it. And I don't know, let's say it's a almost like a Lost Legacy situation where maybe it's a side story about Joel's brother or something, starring like Joel and his brother, whatever. The conversation around that product, and it would be $60. Let's say it's $60. The conversation around that product would just be different. I should have said Venom. Yeah, probably. You're right. Yeah, no. Well, I don't know. I didn't want to say Venom because I don't want I want it to be from PlayStation. You know what I mean? I don't want it to be Marvel. If what I just described, the conversation would be different in that, like, people would just be, we could look at that made up game from Naughty Dog that I just created and compare it to Astrobot. And it's like, the reality is people are going to they're going to think the Last of Us game is the better game. It's the more AAA game. It could have the same amount of budget put into it. It could have the same amount of dev time put into it. It could be the same exact length. It could cost the same amount of money. But people are going to they're going to look at the Last of Us and be like, look at those graphics, dude. Look at that third person gameplay. Like, I don't know what it is, but that's a thing that exists. And I think that that's kind of what is funny to witness, is that people have kind of made fun of PlayStation because it's like, oh, they're all the same games. They're the over the shoulder third person, story driven cinematic games. And I'm like, yeah, but dude, like, people like that shit. I'm not saying they like it. I'm not saying they don't like Astrobot, but the reality is, like, that's the audience that PlayStation has built up. Astrobot doesn't have the chance to, I think, sell as well as something like what I just described, because we don't really get stuff like that often from Sony. And so, I don't know, I guess it's just kind of a tough thing, because I think a large portion of the PlayStation audience, like they, and myself included, like we do want those games. We want the big blockbuster games. And even if they're not big blockbuster, but they're kind of in between games, we do like our narrative driven games. We do like our third person, over the shoulder games. And not to say that they're all the same, they're not, but there is like a certain template. I don't know why I said template. A template that I think has kind of been carved out, and it has created this expectation that when we see something that is not that, I don't want to say we don't react negatively, because that's not true. People were very positive about Ratchet and Clank. Same thing with Astro, but it seems like it struggles a little bit more to reach a wider audience on PlayStation. Any Sony executives in here? Pitch that Joel and Tommy game. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see how it all plays out, but I don't want to see Sony. I mean, it's funny because this whole time, I want to say this too, because this is just a thought I had. One of the things Shawn Layden keeps talking about, understandably. Really quick, Ahoy Tyler, you're saying people have an unspoken bias towards games that are cartoony or for kids, and so they see it as lesser versus something that has more realistic graphics / subject material. I think you're right. I think you're right about that. Unless it's Nintendo, right? If it's not Nintendo, I think you're right. Like, people just have that, even if it's an unconscious bias, I think it exists, because that, I saw that with Astrobot, where I'm like, dude, Astrobot, and like somebody left this bizarre comment on one of my recent streams. They're like, LOL, PlayStation fans are gaslighting themselves into thinking they like Astrobot, even though the game's failing to sell well and it's a flop and blah, blah. And it's like, what are you talking about? Like any PlayStation fan who's saying they like Astrobot, it's because they like Astrobot because it's a good game. And I think it is selling pretty well. I don't think the reality is Astrobot's not doing the same numbers as like God of War, Horizon, Uncharted, Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima. It's not. It's just not. But it is holding its own seemingly. And I don't know if it's within Sony's expectations or not, but it's just like to see comments like that and they're written so earnestly. It's like, yeah, what you're describing absolutely exists, where it's like, I don't know if that's fanboy nonsense or when you're saying I've stopped paying attention to Xbox, waste of energy. That's why I was like, this has to be an Xbox, right? Like, this has to be some kind of Xbox fanboy just being a weirdo like they always are. But very strange, man. But I wanted to say this. And this is where, like, I don't want to see Sony lose their way, obviously. Some people think that they've already lost their way. I don't think that they've lost their way. I just think that they've made a series of mistakes that if they don't course correct and readjust or, start to lean more so into the prop up the things that are really going to help you out. So, like, the big thing here is the cost of making these AAA games. It's too high. It's too risky. One flop and it's over, right? One flop could be disastrous. And I remember one of the biggest reasons to justify the live service game push was we can't risk a flop. If one of these $300 million, $250 million single player games fails, if it doesn't meet sales expectations, if it doesn't break even, it could spell disaster for the studio and future projects, right? Meanwhile, we need to spool up all these live service games, because once we make that live service revenue, we will be able to survive that and take potential blows like that without having to feel them. Exactly, Jay Shako. You know where I was going with that. And then Concord happened, and that's the greatest irony of all. I was like, Sony, guess what? Your biggest fear came true. You lost 300, probably 4. I mean, if you counter in how much they paid for the studio, you probably did lose $400+ million on Concord. And that's a live service game. Now, imagine this. Imagine that was a $400 million single player game from a AAA studio you own. Maybe it's Naughty Dog. Maybe it's Santa Monica. Maybe it's Guerrilla. It doesn't matter. Maybe it's Sucker Punch, but it's a $400 million single player game. You know what the irony here is? There's no promise you would have made back that $400 million immediately, but you wouldn't have lost it all. You would have made more money off of that single player game than you did with this multiplayer project. And it's unpredictable in a sense. And I understand that there has to be some risk taking. There has to be some diversity in the lineup and the genres. We don't just want the same type of games over and over and over again. But at the same time, like, this is why, like, what Shawn Layden's describing, dude, in a way, I almost imagine like you got Ghost of Tsushima, and I think Sony wants this. You got Ghost of Tsushima, you got The Last of Us, you got Spider-Man, you got, well, maybe Spider-Man would be a little bit different, but you got Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us, Horizon. Why am I drawing a blank? But just any of these franchises that Sony has. I think what Sony wants is like, dude, they want to God of War, of course. I forget some of the most obvious ones for some reason when I'm making these lists. But you have these huge franchises, and then it's like, we're going to try to get it so that there's something new coming out from those franchises every 1 to 2 years. Like, we want to get that cycle. And it's again, Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty proved that you can have these monolithic franchises and just fucking release a new game every single year, right? You could do it every single year. But I think, to be honest, I think Sony's own studios are against that. I think it's actually the creative side that won't allow that to happen. And that's why we're getting remakes, and that's why we're getting remasters, because Sony's like, we got to get more from these franchises, bro. We can't just be sitting here for 2 or 3 years and not have The Last of Us and not have, Horizon making us some money. So they were like, okay, maybe live service games, but if you can't do the live service games, then I don't know, what's the other option? Maybe not try to extract all that revenue? And Lone Wolf Gamer re-ups their membership, comes back to greatness awaits. Lone Wolf.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good stuff, bro. And it looks like you got your 12-month member badge as well. So thank you for re-upping your membership. Again, since you actually re-upped your membership, I'll let you know, go check out some members content that I put out this morning. Morning with the Misses, me and Mrs. MBG hanging out with you guys. Go check that out. And that brings us up to 26. So we officially went beyond the 25 member mark. Guys, if you want to keep this member train going, we have a second goal we can try to hit. It's up to you. You know, every membership counts. We could try to hit 50. But 26, that's a solid number. Thank you, guys. And Delwyn Jones with another generous super chat. Thank you. Yeah, the rep goal. If we hit 50 memberships, I'll do reps. It's been a long time since I've done reps, okay? It's been too long. I'll do some reps if we hit it. Delwyn says, it does not matter to me if the game is small or big. Title of the game's Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart was freaking awesome to play. The technology, graphics, 3D audio, and haptic feedback were built in the PS5 console release date. Yeah, I generally feel the same way, Delwyn, but I can't deny that there is a part of me that does want... I want to see games from developers that want to go all out. But I feel like it's like, it makes me think like GTA 6, right? I would love to see one of Sony Studios take 8 freaking years. Well, actually, it's longer than that. Like, take 10 years. Just one of their studios. Take 10 years to make a game. And I would love to see what would that game look like, dude. I mean, what would that game actually look like? It would be a hell of a thing, but the problem with that is I don't think Sony has a studio with an IP that would justify that type of development cycle. You know, you can give GTA 6 15 years of development if need be, because that thing is going to make billions and billions and billions of dollars. However, The Last of Us, Uncharted, Horizon, Ghost of Tsushima, even God of War, like, I don't know, man. I don't know that a God of War game that's in development for 10 years, no matter how big and exciting it is and how innovative it is, I don't think that's going to justify a 10-year development cycle, you know? So it's kind of one of these things where unless Sony was trying to make a GTA competitor with an online component, then they could give it 10 years. Unless they're trying to make their own Call of Duty and create a pipeline, then they can take 10 years. But I really think right now, Delwyn, we do need, in the interim, we need what you're describing. We need the Ratchet and Clank Rift Aparts. We need the Astrobots. We need the Miles Moraleses. We need the Lost Legacies. We need these things to fill in the gaps. And I think it's becoming clear we need that. But whether or not Sony can make that happen with their current studios, it seems like they can, but it seems like it's still a little bit off balance to a degree, to a small degree. But Delwyn, thank you once again for the generous super chat, man. I appreciate all the support, guys. And Omen86 coming in with a super sticker, a black cat. Is that Luna? It looks like Luna, Omen. Jay Shako is screaming in the chat. Bring back Sly Cooper, god damn it. Ooh. Yeah, I don't know, man. I really do want to see. I think that right now Sony's likely in the process of trying to map this out right now in preparation for the PlayStation 6 generation. That's my assumption anyway. Sorry, I'm just checking something here. Sorry for the dead air, guys. I'm just trying to check something really quick before we continue our conversation. Okay. I was just trying to see, so you said 4:45. Okay. We still got time. We still got time. You want to see Boss and Stray 2? I want to see that as well. By the way, guys, I haven't said this enough today. Hit that like button. I mean, I want to see some Kratos rage on that like button, bro. We need some Kratos rage on that like button. Spartan rage, that like button. Stomp it. I want to see us get to 200 likes. Guys, we got 275 people in here right now. I want to see us get to 200 likes. Easy. Omen86 says, Concord was a reality check. Puts them back on track. I hope so. I really hope so. And, I mean, you know, seeing Ghost of Yotei, potentially seeing Wolverine soon, hopefully learning more about Death Stranding 2. We didn't see as much from Death Stranding 2 as I thought we would in September. But it's reassuring. Kojima says they have a release date ready for next year, so the game's almost done. I think these are the games that I think Sony needs to lean into. Marathon. Let's see how Marathon turns out. If Venom is real, it'll be nice to see that. I do wonder what else. Could be up Sony's sleeve here. I mean, there's Fair Games. Fair Games is probably my biggest concern right now. I'll be honest with you guys. Like, if there's any other projects within Sony, I mean, I have basically two deep fears for Sony. Fear number one, they try to re-release Concord. Fear number two, Fair Games is basically Concord 2. These are my biggest fears because, I mean, if they got to go through with it, they got to go through with it. It's going to be painful to go through and watch, but yeah, I don't know, man. I saw that Ghost of Tsushima was celebrating, the official Ghost of Tsushima Twitter account was celebrating the 4-year anniversary of Ghost of Tsushima Legends, and I'm like, we could use that, after Ghost of Yotei, Ghost of Tsushima Legends 2. We could definitely use that, bro. We could use it. Whiskey Gaming, you're saying I'm on a plane. What did I miss? LOL. We talked a bit about hold on. Yeah, we talked about an insider saying that we're going to be seeing more of Wolverine soon. Insomniac's gearing up to talk about Wolverine. We talked about the potential of a 30th anniversary showcase. We talked a little bit about Shawn Layden's comments recently on how he believes we need to go back to AA game development, 2 to 3 year dev cycles. And we talked about a couple of other things in between. Marathon seems to be shaping up nicely according to recent playtests over the last few weeks. That's what I've been hearing too. And I'll be honest, man, like, I'm rooting for it. I'm not excited necessarily for Marathon, but when you're saying Blue Point, Housemarque, bring it. I'll be honest, Omen, I know that some people might think this is crazy, and I could be dead wrong, and I hope I'm dead wrong, but I'm almost starting to think that Housemarque's next project and even Blue Point's next project might be PlayStation 6 games, dude. I don't know that I'm fully on board with that yet, but I don't know. Blue Point's making a brand new game, and it's their first time, so they might need more time. Housemarque, I don't know. I mean, we could see them before the end of the generation. Yeah, Housemarque's kind of a maybe. The thing is, Housemarque's making a new IP as well. So they're making a brand new game too. So I feel like they're probably going to need some time. But they're going to build off of what they achieved with Returnal. No doubt. You're welcome, Whiskey Gaming. Yeah, Sony Bend as well. Sony Bend will be a very interesting one. That'll be a really interesting studio to see their game revealed. By the way, guys, 198 likes. 2 more. 2 more. And we hit the 200 mark. Housemarque and Blue Point are smaller. They should be able to turn around games sooner. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because I get the feeling that Sony likely gave them a bigger budget. I feel like Sony likely gave Housemarque and Blue Point a bigger budget. I'm pretty sure they're both working on AAA games. So I'm not saying I expect them to take like 6 or 7 years necessarily, but they could. I don't know that that's the expectation, but I think they could. Saying Returnal was a breath of fresh air, so innovative, great effing game. I agree. Returnal was fantastic. And the only thing I didn't like about Returnal was the platinum grind. That drove me nuts. But that's not a fault of the game or the gameplay. It's actually just a fault of the trophy list. Getting all those glyphs. Oh my lord. But Returnal was it was a really solid game, man. Yeah, you're right. It's totally optional. Totally optional. You want to see what Ember Lab's cooking up? Yeah, I don't know where they went. I don't know what's going on with them. That was a really good game too. Kena Bridge of Spirits. Really good game. Did Returnal have an understandable story? I think so, yeah. It was not on the nose. Like, you had to definitely pay attention and kind of think about what's going on here and what. Well, I don't know. I mean, I think if I remember correctly, I had to look a little bit into it. There's some things that I think are left up to interpretation, but it mostly had a coherent story and a comprehensible story. Earthspank says, I want to see what The Rock is cooking. PlayStation Pete with a super chat. Thank you, PlayStation Pete, saying GameStop gave me an Astrobot poster, hung it in the living room, playing RoboCop Rogue City. PlayStation Pete's living the life, bro. He's sitting back, playing some RoboCop Rogue City with an a GameStop exclusive Astrobot poster on his wall. Doesn't get any better than that. I don't know. Omen might have the edge over you, PlayStation P, because I imagine Omen sits in his living room and he's looking back, or he's sitting back, he's playing his PS5. He's gonna be playing Alan Wake 2 on his PS5 Pro. He's got a big ass, maybe he upgraded, he's got a big framed portrait of Jim Ryan. PlayStation P, you're gonna have to frame that Astrobot poster, man. No, that's pretty cool though. That's pretty sick. I wonder what Astrobot poster it is. If it's from GameStop, I imagine it's probably something you can't really get anywhere else. Because I know that these stores, and like GameStop in particular, they get certain materials, certain advertising materials that really are exclusive to retail. Lying, crying, tap dancing, retiring, Jim Ryan. I love the tap dancing. But PlayStation Pete, thank you for the super chat, buddy. Omen says Jim is still there. The new people didn't prove themselves yet. We got time. Oof. If Hellblade 2 came to PlayStation, would it sell more than the Xbox version? That's a more AA game. Yes, it would. A lot of people on Xbox who played Hellblade 2 most likely did so through Game Pass. Sales-wise, it probably tanked, honestly. But it would sell better on PlayStation. I don't know that it would sell great, but I think it would sell better. Especially if they did a physical version. Bluepoint's working on an original game, not a new IP. I think it'll be Demon's Souls 2. Colin said Bloodborne 2, but I think it's Demon's Souls 2. I think he confirmed that he was wrong about that, about the Bloodborne thing. I think I'm pretty sure it's a new IP, Salvazard. I mean, it would be very sick if we got like a Demon's Souls 2 and like maybe, I don't know, From Software just kind of did some consultation on it, but I'm pretty sure it's something brand new. And PlayStation Pete with the second super chat. Thank you so much for that, buddy. In all caps, he says, I have the 30th the 30th Pro PlayStation jacket that Ken Kutaragi has as well. The shirts, hats, lanyards, and socks. God damn, PlayStation. Where are you snagging this stuff? Where are you getting this? PlayStation Pete, who's your connection? He's got the whole thing. He's got socks, bro. He's got 30th anniversary, PlayStation 30th anniversary socks. I'm jealous. That's awesome, though, dude. They sell that. Oh, do they sell it? I don't know. He's saying eBay. Oh, wow. That's good stuff, PlayStation Pete. I see you. PlayStation Pete truly did go all out for the PlayStation 30th anniversary, man. Didn't they specifically phrase it as original content, though? Things could have changed. I mean, they did, and I will say it's a little bit strange because we normally think new, like the terminology that's used in the industry traditionally is new IP. But when they say an original game, I mean, I'll be honest, I feel like we're kind of splitting hairs at that point. I think it's more likely that they're going to make something brand new because if you think about it, if Blue Point is given an IP like Bloodborne, well, they're not, I don't think they're going to be given Bloodborne, but like even Demon Souls, you're risking something unnecessarily where it's like, if you get like, you're in a confine, you know what I mean? Like there's an expectation, you have to do something very specific with it. And if you don't do those specific things, you're automatically going to piss people off. And I feel like if you're Blue Point and you want to make your first original game, you probably want to start with as much creative freedom as possible because there's no expectation from them. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like they could use that to their advantage where it's like, yeah, we've never seen an original game from Blue Point, so what can we expect? We have no expectations. Leia was crying at the door. She's like, let me in. And now boss is like, boss, bro, what are you doing? He's biting her neck. You guys hearing this? Sorry about that. I turned the gain up all the way. So maybe the noises that they were making could come through because they sounded like they were basically fighting. PlayStation Pete, you're saying you sent me a picture on Twitter? Let's see if I can find it real quick. I wonder why it's not showing up. PlayStation Pete. I would like to see this jacket. Oh, you're saying you will send it to me. Okay, my bad. I misread that. Yeah, I'll check that out. Oh, and you're saying Jim Ryan currently playing Astro on his Portal. I'm sure he is, bro. We all know Jim Ryan's the biggest PlayStation fanboy out there. Why do you think he retired? He's like, I want to sit back. I want to play some Astro on my Portal. He's probably got an early version, or not an early version, but early access to the PS1 themed Portal. 30th anniversary Portal. He's kicking back, man. He's drinking some wine. He's living it up. He's living the dream. Chris says, not going to lie, I kind of want a Portal. I do want to get one too. I also want to get one. I've been late to a lot of the stuff that Sony released. Like I was late to the DualSense Edge, and I was late to I'm late to the Portal. And so there are like these things that Sony releases that I don't dive into day one. I was late with PSVR 2 as well. The Pro I'm not going to be late with though. Phantom Oblong decides to become a member, joining our awesome member community here. Phantom Oblong, thank you so much for that, bro. Welcome to Greatness Awaits. I will let you know, since you actually became a member, you now have access to exclusive perks, including members-only content. This morning, we did the first ever episode of Mornings with the Misses. Mornings with the Misses. It's a 45-minute stream of me and Mrs. MBG hanging out with you guys. So please go check that out. And thank you for your support, Phantom. Let me update that. So we're now at 27 members on the day, guys. There we go. So we're still making our way. We'll see where we get to. I do want to try to continue to put out members content for you guys. I'm trying my best to find a proper balance, you know. I want to be able to put out videos, but I want to keep up with the streams. I want to keep up with the members content. I want to keep my members happy. I want to make sure people who are gifting memberships feel like it's worth it. You know, anybody who's getting gifted a membership, I want them to be happy. I want them to feel like they're really getting something of potential value here. And Omen86 says, that genuinely made me laugh. Retired for gaming. Yeah, I mean, well, think about it, bro. Think about it. You spend the, last 5 years as the CEO of PlayStation, you get to mold it exactly as you want it to be. And then when you're done, you're like, you know what? All right. Time to retire and enjoy what I've created. I don't know, though. I really, in all seriousness, I wouldn't be surprised if Jim Ryan is just like, I never want to hear PlayStation again. No, I doubt it. He probably was stressed, though. You got to be honest. You got to be honest with yourself. And like, that dude was probably stressed. He's like, I'm so tired. Like, I'm tired of seeing my face on thumbnails, man. Like, my grandkids are talking to me, or like, Grandpa, why did I see your face on a YouTube thumbnail in a clown wig? And it's like, he's like, it's just part of the job. He retired the game. And Payne, we got another one. Payne re-ups their membership. Rejoins. Greatness awaits. Seeing more people re-upping their own memberships. I very much appreciate that, guys. I always appreciate the member gifts. And I know a lot of the community appreciates the member gifts. But I definitely want to make it known that I see you guys. I see you guys. Those of you who are re-upping your own memberships, showing that direct support. So Payne actually brings us up to 28 members on the day. We're still climbing. One by one. We're climbing. Jim Ryan saw the Bungie financials last year and said, I'm out. Yeah, all right, I'm gonna head out. You know what, guys? I gave you Returnal. All right? My job here's done. I gave you God of War Ragnarok. I gave you Returnal. What more do you want from me, damn it? That's so funny. Well, I mean, I got to be honest with you, though. Like, PlayStation in 2025 is looking pretty damn good. I'm going to have a deeper conversation with you guys in the coming weeks about our evaluation of how PlayStation did this year. And we'll have that conversation. But And I'm sure we will have more conversations about 2025, but I don't know, man. 2025 is looking like it's going to be a very strong year for PlayStation, much stronger than even 2024. And man, I do feel like some of the negative things that have occurred, such as Concord and whatnot, I do feel like these are basically just like bumps in the road, albeit Concord was a really huge bump in the road, but they happen. And it's all a matter of course correction. These companies are always going to make mistakes. They're always going to have missteps. It's all a matter of whether or not they're going to be able to properly course correct. Wes, God damn it, how many times do I have to tell you about this? It's not Ghost of Yotei. Wolverine. We got Death Woking 2. Wolverine. Ghost of Yotei. Fair Woke. Woke Games. There we go. We got Marrowoke. Wokeathon. Even better. I'm like doing them in the wrong order. What else we got, Sony? We got Horizon Woke Dawn. Horizon, I would say Zero Woke, but I think people would like that name. We got Horizon Woke Dawn Remastered. We got Astro Woke. We've decided, rather than naming the PlayStation 6, we are just naming it the Woke Station 6. We are renaming the company from Sony to Wokey. Wokey, no way, bro. And this is it. This is the future of PlayStation, bro. The Wokey Woke Station 6. Oh my God, this is cursed, man. This could be a skit. And Herman Holst is officially changing his name. Legally, he's legally changing his name to Herman Woke. Hideki Woke Shino. Wokeborn. William G, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I'm feeling much better today. Woke cord. Demon woke. Something about that. There we go. Ratchet and woke. What happened to the chair? I had to bring back the old chair for now because my posture, man. I feel like my posture has not been well. Like that chair it's like a recliner and I don't know. I feel like I don't know if it's like having an impact on my stomach, probably not, but the supervillain chair. That chair is it's cursed, bro. That chair is evil. It was taking me over. It was like a symbiote chair. It was a symbiote chair. So I had to go back. Metaphor Reef and Wokio. Oh, man. Okay, that one. That one. MBG sounds like a white guy for Harris. Nah, bro. That ain't me. You thought I was going to start stroking my cat and have an evil laugh. The woke of us. Dude, you know what? The last of woke. Now that game would sell. That game would sell. Let me tell you. The last of woke. All right. I think we can only take this so far. I think it's overstayed its welcome. A woke tail requiem. I love it. Dude, hold on. Last one. This is the best one. Just woke man. Just woke man. Woke Turismo. I think just woke man wins. Just woke man. What are we doing here, guys? What do we... I feel like I've lost it. I've lost my grip. All right. Let's try to get back on track here. Don't know if I'm going to be able to or not. We may have gone too far. I think we went too far off the rails. Yo. All right, I'm just checking to see if there's any more updates on anything. So the PS5 Pro launches in exactly 3 weeks. We got 3 weeks. The countdown begins. 3 weeks till the PS5 Pro. Are we feeling it? What's the hype like? Let me get a hype check. Hype check for the PS5 Pro. Are we hype? I mean, I'm getting more excited as it gets closer. I'm not going to lie. Oh, and by the way, people were talking to me recently because I was trying to figure out, like, if this was a thing or not, that every game after September 16th has to support the PS5 Pro. Tom Henderson responded to this, by the way. Oh, no, Omen, you can't do that to me. Renaming the channel WBG, Wokebound Gaming. Oh, God. Please, no. Am I going to cover what Layden said about developers? Yeah, we did cover that, William. So you will have to come back once the stream is finished and the timestamps are up. You will have to come back to check that out. But we had a whole section talking about that. We did cover it. But Tom Henderson did reply to a question the other day. He was asked, like, do all PlayStation games after September 16th, like, specifically, do all PlayStation games have to support the PS5 Pro? And he said all PlayStation games submitted after September 16th need to support the PlayStation 5 Pro. So the only... I don't know. I'm starting to think that when the PS5 Pro launches, there's going to be like a whole... It does sound like there's a mandate, doesn't it? Like that. I don't know if the PS4 Pro is the same way, but it does sound like there's a mandate where it's like, you know, that's coming from Tom Henderson. He has the actual documents, right? So it seems like we could be looking at like a tidal wave of PS5 Pro enhanced games. But I don't know what they mean by support, right? Like, I don't know. He didn't really go any deeper than that. He didn't give he didn't give a deeper explanation. He didn't elaborate further. But I hope, I mean, I kind of like the idea of that. Perfect Image, you're saying, I don't know if you know, but there's news on Project 007 from IO. I think I did see something about that. Let me see if I can bring it up. .007 game. Let me see. So the next James Bond game will focus on a young Bond, aims to launch a new trilogy. Hitman 2020. In 2020, Hitman developer IO Interactive revealed that it's working on Project 007, the first new James Bond video game for consoles since 007 Legends was released in 2012. Now, IO Interactive is shedding some light on its ambitious plans for Bond and hoped for a trilogy that will unveil a new origin story for the spy. IO Interactive's CEO told IGN that Project 007 will not be based on any of the existing Bond movies. Instead, the developer is being allowed to create its own version of James Bond for the game. What's exciting about the project is that we actually got to do an original story. So it's not a gamification of a movie. It's completely beginning and becoming a story, hopefully for a big trilogy out there in the future. And equally important and exciting, it's a new Bond. It's a Bond we built from the ground up for gamers. It's extremely exciting with all the tradition and all the history there is They're there together to work on this together with the family of creating a young bond for gamers, a bond that the gamers can call their own and grow with. He didn't offer any explicit details about when the game will arrive, but he noted that the production's going amazingly well. He also reiterated his hope to use it as a launching point for additional Bond games. So there you go, man. You know what's crazy? I've never really been into James Bond. I don't know. Like I'm somewhat familiar with James Bond, but I don't know why. It just never caught me, you know? It never caught me. How are you guys feeling about this? Are you excited? Are we feeling excited for this James Bond? I mean, it sounds pretty cool what they're doing. Like kind of going from the ground up. PlayStation Pete, you're saying you sent me the photo? I'll see if I can check it, bro. Oh, you actually sent a photo of you wearing it, too. Good shit, dude. That looks good. Oh, I see the back of it. PlayStation, Sony Computer Entertainment staff. Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, that shit looks rare. That's awesome, bro. I see the PlayStation logo on the front. It's like, that's the real deal. Yeah. Nice, bro. I like it. I like it. I gotta get me one. Chris Brown, MBG, if I tagged a photo on X, would you look at it? It depends on what it is, man. I'm not just gonna look at anything. God knows, Chris, God knows what you would send me. Bro, PlayStation Pete says, if you want it, I will give it to you when I pass away. He's going to put that in his will. PlayStation Pete's going to put it in his will. It's going to be like the very last thing. And also, make sure my limited edition or like staff only 30th anniversary PlayStation jacket goes to MBG. I mean, that's kind of dark, though. I'm not going to lie. But PlayStation Pete, if it's your will, I must honor it. Permahat pre-orders up yet? No, I've been slacking on it, Omen. I'm not going to lie. I've been slacking on it. I got to figure out, I used to do my merch through Teespring. I mean, they're still who I do it through whenever I do merch, but I got to see if they have hats up. I think you can do hats now. Permahat. Yeah, I think the permahat. I like it. I like the idea of it. I still like that idea, Omen. One of these days, I'm going to get around to it. One of these days. I promise it's PGMBG if you look at it. Tell me what it is, Chris. Tell me what it is. All right, so where are we at? Okay, so we're at the 2 hour and 47 minute mark. Oh my God, Chris, I got it. No way, bro. It's Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson from what's that movie? Is it Zoolander? Is that the name of the movie? And they're making those stupid faces, but it's like it's Snake. Woke Metal Gear. That's pretty funny, dude. Not gonna lie. All right. That was a good one, Chris. That was a good one. Show us. My streaming software has been glitching out and like not letting me post images for like the longest time. I'll see if I can get it up. Maybe it will let me. It's like 50-50. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. In this case, I don't think it's going to let me. Damn. Maybe next stream. I don't know why it does that. I'll save a picture to my my downloads or my picture file, you know, and it won't let me pull it. It just doesn't show up. But that one's pretty funny. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. Fishy's coming in saying, what did I miss? You missed everything. You missed everything, Fishy. We talked about Wolverine. We're going to be hearing from Wolverine. We're going to be hearing about Wolverine very soon. We talked about the potential for a PlayStation 30th anniversary showcase. We talked about Shawn Layden's recent comments about how he believes we need to go back. We need to go back to AA game development cycles. We talked a bit about Ghost of Yotei. We talked about Sweet Baby Inc. and how they suck. What else? What else did we talk about? I don't know. We talked a little bit about Jim Ryan retiring and playing games. I don't know. We started to get a little off the rails. Guys, I want to let you know we got 10 more minutes, okay? I'm going to wrap this stream up at the 3-hour mark. So I do want to let you know that if you want to do any more fan funding, okay? If you want to keep this, if you want to get another member train going, we got 10 minutes. 10 minutes. We'll see if we can squeeze more out of this. All right? I don't know how generous you guys are feeling today, but sometimes we get some trains going at the end. We're at 28 members, which is awesome. So if you want to drop any more member gifts, if you want to become a member, again, we did the first episode of Morning with the Missus today, where me and Mrs. MBG, I don't know, I was kind of nervous, you know, doing that stream with Mrs. MBG because, like, we're kind of crazy, dude. I don't know. We're kind of crazy. I don't know how weird we are together, but people seem to really enjoy it. So if you are a channel member, please go check that out. Members exclusive content. But we got 10 minutes left. Again, last 10 minutes, drop any memberships, any direct donations, any super chats. You want to get them in now before we wrap everything up. Omen says, hot take, Forspoken was trash, but the traversal in that game is unmatched to this day. Is that a hot take? I haven't played Forspoken. Ray, you're saying we like weird. You guys are just like me and my wife. That's awesome. Yeah, it was a good time. So will we see more members content like that? That's the goal. That is my goal. I want to, I want to try to put out members content that you guys enjoy. And we did a couple of streams. I think they were like gameplay streams. We did a couple of gameplay streams with Mrs. MBG, and people really like the dynamic. And the thing is, like, Mrs. MBG really enjoys being part of the channel. You know, that's the biggest thing is it's very natural. You know, it was her idea to do the members stream today. She was asking me if I wanted to do it. I'm like, all right. Yeah, you know, I know it's like a bit out of nowhere, but it's something we were talking about. So people seem to really like Mrs. MBG and the dynamic between us. And so we'll try to do more of that content, and it could become a regular thing. And, you know, look, I don't know if we're going to be on camera. Like I said, I don't think I'm planning on doing that. But the next best thing, I don't know, man. We might, you might get a Mrs. MBG reveal soon enough. Just not necessarily in the way that it's going to be a VTuber. It's going to be a VTubing cat. Here's Mrs. MBG. No, it's not that. It's not that. But we got it. We got to keep the members flowing. You know, I do rely on you guys, right? Like when I tell you guys, like, the only reason I can do this is because of the support we get from the community. A lot of it is from memberships, super chats as well, but that type of fan funding, you know, that's the stuff that legitimately makes it possible. So saying, nah, better not to have Mrs. MBG on camera. Well, there's kind of an in-between, in a way. A bit of an in-between that I think I found that I think will satisfy everybody and make everybody happy. And I think it'll be just right. That's my hope anyway. Mrs. MBG wasn't very excited about the perma hat idea, but I'll win her over, I think. Yeah, I don't know, man. I thought it was, I like the idea. AI Mrs. MBG? Oh shit, what if Mrs. MBG is an AI? And I'm fooling you guys. What then? My wife actually looks like Aloy, just a slimmer face. I don't know if Mrs. MBG looks like any... Who would she look like? I don't know. I'm trying to think like who she would look like. I really don't know. Jay Shocker's like, do not go down that rabbit hole, man. Oh, man. No, but it was a good time. If you allow a woman on your channel, all the bots will call you woke. Oh, shit. Nothing new there. Think she looks like Abby? No, I don't think so. No. William, bro. William's like, oh man, I'm sure MBG's wife is a lovely woman. She seems very nice in streams. Oh no, William. Chat's getting weird out here. Chat's getting weird again. Homan says, nah, we ain't incels. Just because we call out woke doesn't mean we don't like women. It's a balance, Wes. I believe it's a balance. And because I think you're right. Like there is, again, there's too much of like you're this and you're that, and it's like, well, people just have to, again, man, they just got to be balanced in your approach. Be balanced in your approach. That's how I feel about it anyway. You know? And Steven Leon, bro! Steven Leon drops a fucking 20 bomb on you guys.
Holy shit.
Steven was legit waiting for like the last minute here, bro. We got like 2 minutes left of the stream and he's like, I'm saving that 20 bomb. We're doing the 20. And he drops another 5. Steven's going crazy. Bro, Steven, thank you so much, man. Steven Legend. That's gonna have to be your name now. Steven Legend. Because he's not every stream, but a lot of streams now, he's dropping these bombs. That's 25 members gifted. He gets us over the 50 mark, bro. Now I have to do reps. Making me do reps. I see you, Steven. And Omen86 getting more in today. He's dropping another 5 bomb on you guys. See, you never know. You never know when the member trains are going to start, bro. That's 30 membership gifts. Guys, thank you so much. That's a full-blown member train. Full-blown member train. Please go check out the first episode. I'm glad. I'm actually really happy that we're getting more members because I would like more people to go watch that members content we put out earlier today. Get some feedback. And Raven X0 re-ups their membership. Raven X0's getting in on it. He re-ups. Coming back to greatness awaits. Guys, we're at 59 members. 10 more and we get to 69. I know that people want that to happen, right? We want to hit the 69. But we're at 59 members. Wes coming in with his milestone chat saying Cerny loves us with about, how many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's cursed, bro. 13 Mark Cerny's. God damn. More PS5 vertical stands. More PS5 vertical stands. We're going to be bathing in PS5 vertical stands, bro. But let me update this. Thank you guys so much. You guys are too kind, really. We have an amazing community here. Very generous. Very supportive of one another. So we are at 59. And there we go. 59, bro. 59 members. Super secret showcase hype. Let's go. Secret showcase hype. Who's hyped for that? See, I do hope. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know what the likelihood of it is, but it would be awesome if Sony had something. It's like too good to be true. You know, like the idea of a secret showcase. I mean, it's practically like a meme at this point. Delwyn's like, PS5 Pro hype is real. And OK comes in and drops a membership. He brings us to 60. OK is bringing us to 60. He's rounding it out. Bro, it's so funny when I look in at my streaming software, the last thing I see is Wes's milestone chat, and it just says Cerny. Like, it's actually kind of insane because it won't show the emoji. It just says the emoji. Cerny. It's like some kind of ritual or something. Omen86 drops another member gift. We're coming back around with the singles now. Stephen Leon started with the heavy lift here. We got to do some, I guess we got to do some reps, man. So we're at 61 now, guys. 61. We don't talk about that, Fishy. We don't talk about that anymore, you know? All right, let me show you where we're at now. So we're at 61 members. You guys going big today. Love to see it. Wes says, let's make it 69. I mean, look, we're going to do, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do some reps. And while I'm doing that, it's up to you guys. If you want to get 8 more to get us to 69, nice, right? If we can do it, it's on you. Steven says, you don't know how blessed I am. I have to pass on it. I care too much. Well, I appreciate what you guys do for the channel. Sincerely, it means a lot. I'm very thankful, very grateful to be able to do this. You know, even at times when it's like slowing down and everybody, you know, we're kind of just waiting for the Pro to launch or for games to come out for you know, the end of the year to roll around, basically. And Fishy Queefs comes in. I got to say the full name at least once. Fishy comes in. He drops another 10 bomb. He's like, 69? No way, bro. 71. Fishy does it. Bro, that's crazy. Guys, we set the second goal to 50, and we're now sitting at 71 members. Look at this. You guys are amazing. I see that Omen's talking about Delta coming out, and he's talking about a boss cosplay. Delta comes out, the boss cosplay comes out. I don't know, man. I don't know. I gotta figure out where it's at. I know it's somewhere. I might have to rebuy like the bandana or something, but it would be the most appropriate time, would it not? But guys, let's get some reps in. I'm trying to do like lateral raises, and I think I practically I could feel, dude, I could feel my chair. It was about to tip, bro. I'm like almost had a situation. Almost had a full situation there. Omen drops another 10 memberships, bro. We're getting reps. Omen's like 10 more memberships, 10 more reps. Get it. In the name of Jim Ryan.
Enough from me. We're gonna have the games do our talking.
It's dangerous to rely on teraflops as an absolute indicator of performance.
Dude, it's so funny hearing those sound bites like over the music. That's awesome though, dude. Dude, I gotta tell you though, I'm out of shape. Holy shit, I'm out of shape. I gotta get back at it. I feel like I'm starting to lose some of my muscle mass too. But guys, 81 members. Huge, huge day. Oh no, Chris, don't do that to me. You gotta save it for the members content, bro. All right, so here's what I'll do. You guys very clearly extended the stream with the member trains at the end here, which is very awesome. At this point, I'll let it go to the 3 hour and 10 minute mark. We'll at least do those last 3 minutes. Round it out. But 81 members, you guys are nuts. We came in today thinking, yo, we're gonna shoot for 25. You guys crushed 3 goals. 3 goals, 25, 50, and 75. So I gotta give you guys a huge shout out. Seriously. You gotta get some pec and trap swelling going on, bro. Omen thinks that would be a hit. Get a guitar track going. Jim Ryan remix. Yeah, I'll just find a Jim Ryan interview and put like a really sick guitar solo over it. I really got to get into a better workout routine. I've like lost it the past couple months. I've been still working out here and there, but what song is that? Saying honestly, what song is that? I don't know what the name of it is. I think it's called Takeoff. It's like part of YouTube's free music or whatever. I haven't checked their free music catalog in a long time though. I downloaded that a while ago. All right. Well, we did it. I mean, this is a complete stream. You're saying that happened to you too as well, Fishy? Saying once I sold my PS5 digital for the Pro, I've been hitting the gym harder. I feel way better. Jet Moto music. Okay, you're saying love the content here, but genuinely a disastrous idea to bring family onto the stream on camera. You talk a lot about how the talk online affects you. Very destabilizing to bring that into your home. I do agree, okay. But I don't know, man. I guess like, and again, there's a risk associated with it, but my hope is that like, you know, well, first off, it's members content, you know, like that's stuff people, I mean, I guess people can, if they want, like people can take members content and they can like put it out there, but I'm within my right to take it down, like very much so, because that's paid members content. Like that's different from like if somebody took a clip from my public stream and did commentary on it. You know what I mean? That's a very different situation. If you can technically, it's basically copyright abuse, and people have done this, and you see it where they try to have videos taken down, videos that were made of them taken down, but it's protected under fair use. Members content that's illegal. You can't take paid content like that and use it. I mean, you can, and if it, if it happens enough, like it's a matter of you got to go after it, I guess. But saying by that time it's already too late. I mean, I guess it depends. And people who do that, that's kind of shitty, because it's like, it's not like the members content I do it's not secretive. It's not about it being secretive. It's about like, it's taking away value from my members. You know what I mean? Like there are people who actively pay money to be members to get exclusive content and perks. And when that stuff happens, it's actively taking away the value. But what I was going to say, okay, is that my hope is that people would at least be smart enough to realize that, like, look, when I'm talking about games and shit, and I'm having some weird takes that people don't like, or they want to dunk on me for my trash, I guess they view it as a trash take on gaming or PlayStation or whatever. That's one thing. But if we're, I think that's just completely different from like, you're just having a chill stream talking to people very casually, as if you were just having a friendly conversation. Like, I don't really know why people would choose to weaponize something like that, but I don't underestimate them. I definitely don't underestimate them. Okay, because people are pretty terrible for seemingly no reason. But I don't know, man. It is what it is. I'm focused on trying to have a good time with my members, and again, trying to provide that value, and we'll see where it goes. I mean, today went pretty well. I thought it was pretty fun. Steven, you're saying you need to get back to the gym. You're paying for it. Once my eyes are done, I'm going to push myself and son, push through the nerve pain. Yeah. Yeah, that's why, like, I notice whatever is going on with my stomach, it definitely became a bit of a hindrance with me working out. And so now that I'm figuring it out and getting a hold on it, I should say, I'm going to try to get back into a more solid routine. Try to push further. We'll do it together. It's bulking season, right? Yeah, Chris, that's kind of how I feel too. Yeah. You think 31 is a pain? 53 sucks. Yeah. Well, 31's definitely letting me know that some things are starting to catch up with me. Not all of them, but they will catch up. So I have time to prepare, I guess. Time to prepare as best I can. Alex says, keep up the good work, man. Focus on the positive. I'll do my best. Yeah, I feel like a complete turnaround from yesterday. I don't know. Some people think maybe, are you bipolar, bro? I don't know. I hope I'm not. I don't think I am. I mean, it does run in my family, but truthfully, I think yesterday was just I had a lot of anxiety yesterday. I had a lot on my mind, and it was just not the appropriate time for me to be having a public discussion for 3 hours straight, But luckily today, I woke up feeling a lot better, more energy, a lot less anxiety, and I'm like, I want to have a good day, and here we are. And thank you guys. You guys definitely helped contribute to that. I didn't know, how today's stream was going to go, but I thought it went really well. We covered some good topics. We had some good conversations, and you guys showed some incredible support for me and the community and the family. So Omen says, don't let the negativity get to you. This channel's fire. Well, thank you, Omen. I'm glad you appreciate it. I'm glad you appreciate it. It means a lot. Saying the physical symptoms of anxiety are the worst. Yeah. It can be a bit much, but it's all a process, I guess, right? We all got to work through it. But there we go. We hit the 3 hour and 15-minute mark. So, guys, this is going to be the best place for me to wrap up this Friday stream. Just a reminder, I did put a regular news video out there for you guys. If you didn't check that out, go check it out. Again, to all my members, be sure to go check out the members content. And yeah, this is where I'm going to wrap it. I want to ask you guys one last favor, if you don't mind. As you're heading out, please hit that like button for me. We're sitting at just about 225 likes. We'll see if we can bump that up to 235, 240. And I also want to make sure to just thank everybody for your support. 81 members, huge number today. So thank you for that. Also, a big thank you to anybody who dropped a super chat. Really appreciate you guys keeping the conversation going and taking it into a different direction. I see Carlos is asking, excuse me, is there a lounge today? No, we did basically, we did what I call morning with the misses. So there's new piece of members content that's out now. We did it early this morning. So while there isn't a members lounge, you go check that out. I think you'll enjoy it. And just a shout out to everybody who dropped a direct donation as well. I want to make sure just that everybody is getting thanks from me because, you know, it's tough times out there. And the fact that there are so many generous people here, you know, showing that support means a lot. Also want to give a shout out to Devil Shooter. He does the timestamps for the streams. Guys, if you see Devil Shooter in the comments with the timestamps, give him some thanks. Show him some love. I know he appreciates it. He really does a good service to the community here. So thank you, Devil Shooter. And yeah, that does it. So guys, please enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my day. And tomorrow will be an off day. We will be back here Sunday with another stream, our usual Sunday stream. Okay. So guys, I'll catch you then. Take care of yourselves. And until the next time, take care, everyone. I said take care. God knows how many times there, but you know, peace. There you go.